And
spooky, scary skeleton.
there it goes.
It looks frozen to me.
Yeah, it does look frozen.
I don't know.
Hold on a second. Yeah, it's frozen.
Why is that?
Frozen.
I don't know, although I do love the fact that Kevin seems so happy on it.
He does seem really happy. It's the happiest I've seen you in a long time.
Good. Let's just freeze it.
Just
like
leave
that.
it there. Leave it there.
Yeah, leave it.
Fair enough. Let's do it. So those watching the stream, that's what it's going to look like. I need to figure out something then for video because apparently that doesn't work. I think Twitch's app came out with video options as well, so I'll look into that. That's probably a better idea since we're on Twitch. You would hope that their stuff works.
Yeah, you'd hope.
All right, so Melik is about to touch the guard's face.
Yep.
And he successfully rolled, if I remember correctly. Or no, he rolled and he had huge bonuses that shouldn't have been present. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to re-roll?
Re-roll.
All right, I'm going to do this.
Roll an athletics check.
All right. My first roll with a real die was a 5 plus. It's an athletics one. I think I'm actually proficient in that. So, is that a strength then, right?
It's not going to be good enough, but
it's going to be 11. It's going to be 11. Yeah, it's not going to be
good. It's not going to be good enough. I do want to applaud you on your honesty. Thank you for letting me know that it was a 5 and not a 20 every time.
That's a natural 20.
Oh, you're on fire.
Natural 20.
Yeah. When people pick up the dice and show it like that, I'm like,
that helps.
Yeah, that really settles it.
It's a natural 20. You turned into a 5. That's adorable. Anywho. Point of order. So you do not manage to grab the man's face before he looks over and sees.
Well, no. I wasn't planning on doing anything.
You were not planning on doing anything, so you look like Xelbor. However, Hawke told me last session that he was planning on using his hat of disguise to look like Xelbor. So there are now currently 2 Xelbors looking at the guard. The guard is looking at 2 Xelbors.
So one of the Xelbors is going to
cast suggestion and tell him, come here for a minute.
Oh, okay. You're going to do that?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to cast suggestion on him.
Smashing him over the head? Okay, that's fine.
No, I have a plan.
Okay. I could always smash him over the head.
That'll be plan C. I'm going to do that. Tell him to come over.
You try it your way.
So no Hawke Hitman moment, huh?
What's my DC?
It'll happen. Don't worry.
It's like 17.
I'm sure there's a box around.
Yeah, he walks over to you.
I'm going to put on my hat. I'm going to turn into Hawke.
Okay.
And then I'm going to grab his head and modify his memory.
All right. Is that another save?
That is another save. Let me see which one that one is.
So what are you making the memory? How are you modifying it?
I'm just going to modify it basically that he just saw the 2 of us standing there talking about Hawke was talking to me about strategy of how I should.
You mean Xelbor was talking to you, Hawke?
No, Hawke was talking to me about strategy, and we just walked around and switched places, basically.
So what you're saying is Xelbor was talking to you about strategy, and you just walked around and switched places. You see what I'm trying to do? See what I'm trying to do? Right.
I got you.
Got it.
But yeah, that's basically all that I'm trying to do. Modify memory.
I already rolled. I already failed.
Oh, you already failed?
I know how it basically works. It's perfectly fine.
Okay,
but yeah,
that's fine.
He's totally on board, and everyone's kind of looking at you like, nice. And Hawke, Xelbor, passed this one to that one. Xelbor, that the regalia that you've been basically provisioned with is the regalia that Xelbor would have had on him, but the seeming spell makes your armor and stuff look like that's the case, and your sword look like that's the case. So your sword is a longsword, Dias Santina, but it looks like a rapier.
Right.
And as the seeming spell kind of takes hold and everything happens, you kind of hear this voice in your head that's just kind of, I don't like hiding. I don't like looking different. And it's just kind of this displeasure of this kind of treachery. Not a fan, but fair enough. You also know that right outside, as you can see on the map, there's a horse with barding, full plate barding, and 3 total lances set up next to it, and a page boy who you can absolutely replace with Melik if you'd like.
I'd like.
That would be sweet.
Oh, also, Zach, I don't know if you got this full effect earlier, but watch this. Hello, welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Thank God.
I went to the Red Bear.
I like it.
I
approve.
I've been there I think every year since I've been married, or since I've been with her. And the year before last, I was like, I saw this cloak, and I was like, I want it. And we went over and looked at it. It's $120. Like, I want it though. And she's like, you've been drinking, don't buy it. I'm like, okay. Saw it again. This time it was like set up with a plague's bearer's like mask and everything. I'm like, I still want it. It's still $120. Got there this year. I was like, it's mine. Stay away, woman.
Did you pick up the plague mask too?
No,
No.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Anywho, horse and everything. You can see that there's a pathway between 2 of the stands that leads into the lists. You can also see that there's kind of a royal section that's been set up, and it looks like most of the chairs have already been filled out already. In the chair on the right in the middle is King Nathor Albicoris. To his left is his daughter, Lena. Behind Lena, you can see Griselda. To their left is 2 people you've never met. I think one of you has actually met them in passing. But not terribly known people to you. And then on the opposite side, you have Ravenhurst and his compatriot, the creepy guy with the green or gray kind of tabard. Just outside of those booths, you can see a couple more people. But the main thing of note for you guys here in this instance is there are 6 champions. And you would know what a champion is from your encounters with the conglomerate. Champions are those armored dudes that the conglomerate uses, that they blinked in and out of combats. And in the middle of those champions, standing just at the front of the royal tent, is that same damn Magier. That same freaking guy. It's the same guy. But it looks like he's kind of looking over at your group.
Is he smirking?
Well, you can see that he pulls out something familiar to you, Xelbor. The lens kind of gives you guys a look and then kind of smirks.
I'm going to stare daggers at him.
I'm going to just note this and continue to sit in silence, like I imagine Hawke would.
Silently giving the finger in his mind.
Obviously, a good choice in taking Melik over Xelbor as your squire. I mean, Hawke as your squire. Because Hawke in his current state would have no idea how to do most of the things that are necessary. And even though Melik is kind of raised in a more aquatic area, he gets a hang for it pretty quick because of his, kind of affinity with animals. Just calm, cool, and gracious demeanor.
I, Hawke, am no man's... Oh, wait, I wanted to inspire Hawke also.
Sure.
Yeah, do that.
Dang it, give me a second. I need to find where I put that thing.
You're going to sing it?
I'm not going to sing it. It was a limerick that I came up with.
Oh, that's right.
I know I put that somewhere.
Do you want me to grab my guitar and I'll underscore it?
That
If
would be
you
cool.
want to.
I can. If you give me like 2 seconds to get it out of the case.
Aha,
want
I
us to-
did write it. It's in my Google Drive.
Do you want us to beatbox or something? Or whatever that is,
It was a good effort. I want to thank you for your effort in that regard. Like, music, I've heard of that one time. You want
One
me
of
to
those
help you out
things.
with mouth harping?
Exactly.
I'm also not very good at music either. I don't know.
Okay. You ready for this limerick?
All right, you
Inspire
built it
me.
up a lot now.
Do you mean the one we've been waiting for?
Yes. Yes, that one. This is a story about my friend Hawke, who pulled a sword out of a rock. Well, he grabbed it off a table, but Hawke, he was still able. And now, he looks kind of like Commander Spock.
Nice.
The guard walks over to you guys and says, "Man, you really are an ugly guy, but you're a pretty good singer. Did he teach you that?" And he gestures towards Xelbor.
Everything I know.
Everything I've ever known.
Ugh, ouch.
And
All
then
right.
he picks his nose.
Hawke thinks about the time when he was sleeping and all the books were piled up around him.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, you know what? I'm going to throw this fight, and then I'm going to run into the tent with him and push him out and
There you go.
see how that goes.
Perfect.
Just see how that goes.
I just gave
Fuck
you, what,
off.
like a D10 of inspiration? Or D8, I can't remember at this level.
You can see that Griswold, after punching through shields and whatnot, he's going to go ahead and set himself to his horse. Looks like he's getting mounted up. The guard says, if you need assistance up onto your horse, we can use a winch if you'd like.
I look over and say, well, I shouldn't say anything, actually.
Hawke probably doesn't need such help. He could probably make it, right?
Yeah, I can give you a
Would he
boost.
know how to do this thing? Would he know how to get up on such a horse? I mean, he's ridden horses.
Yeah, you can get up fine. You just know that when they basically gave him his armor, what he's currently wearing in his seeming is plate armor. They basically got him ready for a joust.
Right.
You're not wearing that.
I'm what?
You're wearing your regular plate armor.
My
not,
regular. Right.
Not armor that would be set and ready for a joust.
So I guess what I'm saying is there the assumption by the onlookers that Giacomo would be unfamiliar with the weight of the plate armor and would struggle getting onto the horse?
Make a charisma check. Much like Danny Kaye in this game's, what I'm ripping this game off of, or
Right.
ripping off of this game, you just hop right up on the horse.
Yep. That's what I wanted to do.
Too much of it. You can see that Griswold's lowering his visor to his full helm and heading over into the lists. It looks like Griswold takes his position on the north side.
I say, Xelbor, do not forget your lance, and hand him up a lance
Okay.
so you can go over.
It does look like a squire followed Griswold and his horse and was actually leading the horse by reins. And in his other hand, he has a lance ready.
Ooh.
So his squire led Griswold's horse and has a lance prepared.
So I will do the same.
Smart.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Did his squire bring like additional lances with him, or just one?
Just one.
All right, that's what I'll do then.
Yeah, these lances are, again, the stats that we're using are the lances that are listed, but these are tourney lances, so they're probably close to about 15 feet long, with heavy weights on the handle and guard.
So the tips of the lances, do they have a weighted end, like a piece of metal, or is it sharpened?
So you look to it as it's being held by Melik kind of close to you. What you would see is that it looks like it has a porcelain dome set to it. And what you would know from what you've heard about tourneys out this way, inside is the head of the lance, which is actually just a portion of the wood continued on that's tapered to it. The reason why the porcelain is put on top of it is so that the lance isn't, like, in any way by weather or anything like that, caused to dull. Or if it's set down in a specific way, it's not caused to dull. So when you hit it, the porcelain will break on the armor, the lance will go through the target.
Okay. So the idea is not here to bludgeon someone off of the horse, it's actually to impale them with the lance?
Correct. So do me a favor and make a history intelligence check.
So I don't have those stats set up the way that...
Just make a history check.
Sure. Ouch.
Okay. So we're going to say that Xelbor kind of guided you through it too. He was helping you out in figuring out what the rules are. So rule number 1 is you have 3 lances. Okay. At the end of 3 runs, or I'm sorry, at the end of 3 lances being broken, if someone actually breaks all 3 of their lances, it goes to ground. You begin the fight there. If you knock the person and unseat them off their horse, it goes to ground. You immediately remove yourself from your horse and continue the combat and engage. The combat is technically combat mortal. You're fighting to the death. Of course, rules of chivalry, you do not have to kill your opponent if you choose not to. You can spare him. You can, of course, also kill them.
Yep.
Or you can claim that he's the winner automatically and surrender, and you won't have to die. You instead will just be dealt with by probably exile. It's usually the way it goes. But yeah, it seems like you're going to try and push these lances towards each other, and on a hit, the lances will break pretty much. On a crit, you may knock them over. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, you can hear that there's a lot of trumpeting from behind. It looks like there's a band behind the royal section. And the clouds in the sky are getting a bit heavy, dark and gray. A herald steps out. Looks like the tiefling friend of Ravenhurst. And he yells out to the company. This day, you see the duel to the death between Eric Griswold of Aegon and Giacomo, the court jester. If you are ready...
Sure, they don't even use my third title.
He kind of starts walking towards the center. He's holding in his hand a flag. In colors, it's mostly orange with kind of a grayish kind of pattern on it. Upon closer look, you can see that it looks like there's an owl on the flag. And as he gets in position, your horses start to get ready. The squire on the opposite side hands Griswold his lance.
I hand Giacomo his lance.
Could I pause and ask a question?
Sure.
Is it possible to focus on defense rather than offense as we're going toward each other? So in other words, I wouldn't really be focusing too much on striking him as much as blunting his attack.
You're hoping to kind of disarm him or kind of basically set him off instead of stab him in the chest.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfectly fine. So if you are doing that, your attacks will be non-lethal. That's fine. You're going to be still doing damage.
Would that provide any advantage in terms of defense?
So if you are trying to fight defensively, you'll be fighting with disadvantage, and the opponent will have disadvantage against you.
That's what I would want. I would try at least for the first go through.
You would also know, just because I just want to make sure this is clear, any attacks against the horse immediately disqualifies you. They throw your head on a chopping block and they kill you.
Got it.
Because that's the way it should be.
Sure.
Horses are more important than people. I love you, horsies. Pep, pep, pep. Okay. So the it looks like the tiefling. It looks like Loxley is about to drop the flag. But before he does, you hear a booming voice coming from across the way, and he says, "Halt!" And you can recognize that the voice comes from Griswold, and he yells out to you, "I said to you before that I would not spill your blood because you were not a knight, and they knighted you. I give you one last chance. Giacomo, I do not wish to take your life. If you wish to concede, surrender, leave this place, I will welcome you back into Aegon, where you've come from, after I take the Lady Albicoris as my wife. What say you?
So at this point, am I still under the persuasion of Lena?
Yep, and she's kind of looking at him with daggers and then looking at you with a kill him kind of look.
Okay. Hawke wouldn't necessarily be inclined to surrender under any circumstances, but I guess since he's persuaded even more so, he wouldn't want to do it.
Okay. So you kind of like, raise your lance in preparation and kind of, gesture towards him to kind of get ready for the flag. Loxley kind of looks to Griswold. Griswold kind of shakes his full helm and kind of sets his lance ready to move and drop it. Loxley drops the flag. Roll initiative.
What kind of measure do I take of him as a warrior?
Oh yeah, he's really, really, really a powerful warrior.
Oh fuck.
He's a badass.
I'm trying to find my token on the map. Oh, it's at the bottom? Okay.
Yep, you're on top of your horse.
Woof woof.
All right. So how this plays out is both of your horses strum towards each other. As you kind of gauge your distance and prepare yourself, you lower the lance and set for your hit. Because of your initiative, you're basically striking at the same time, but yours is just moments before his attack, possibly upending his attack. And as you said, you wanted to attack in a defensive fashion.
Yes.
So you will be doing so. And feel free to make a lance attack with disadvantage. All right. As you strike, you can see that his shield kind of raises up and forces the tip of the lance away from where you were intending and up onto his helm, which blunts it and snaps not only the porcelain off the top, but the head off the lance at probably a quarter of the length of the lance. And his lance is coming in just as that's happening towards you. Your armor class is
23.
So you get your shield out and bat away at the lance as well, and you can see that you kind of sunder it in about half as it hits. The both of you pass and discard your lances. Looks like his squire is already moved towards the lance set, grabbed the next lance, and ran towards the other side of the lists to ready.
So I assume Melik would do the same?
Yes, definitely.
The other thing that the squire on the other side appears to be doing is calming the horse and holding the reins and kind of getting it set into position. Melik, I need you to make an animal handling check. Just add your wisdom, and if you're proficient in animal handling, your proficiency bonus.
All right, this is going to be good. That's a 9. Real dice.
Plus?
0 equals 9.
Okay.
I said it was a 9.
The horse kind of trollops and like doesn't get into position. And Hawke, you're trying to get it into position. The issue here is that you can see that Loxley is dropping the flag again. And it looks like Griswold is coming on. And it doesn't look like they're stopping because of your technical difficulties. Melik in the way.
I formed myself into a horse.
Melik in the way, you have two options. You can either try and hold your horse and get in it yourself and get into position and then charge late, or you can charge on time, the possibility of trampling Melik.
I can handle it.
I'm not going to trample Melik. No way.
I can switch places with you. Oh, wait, I can't do that.
Oh, that would be an interesting development.
That's the opposite of what my power does.
But that would be an interesting... right. I'm going to make a paladin variant that says...
when I get hurt, I switch places with my friends.
And then they die. That'd be good.
And then I bring them back to life.
That'd be good.
Yeah, just do it, man. Do it. I'll just jump out of the way.
Well, he's not doing it. But
yeah,
that would be sweet. Make Andy, make a animal handling check.
Do I get that inspiration bonus?
You have an inspiration dice. You can spend it. It adds a D8 or D10.
It's a D10 at this point.
All right. So you don't really have a choice. You're trampling, Melik. Mel, go ahead and make a reflex saving or dexterity saving throw. Just add your dexterity to a dice.
Damn it.
Yep. Let me do this.
I did not want to trample you.
That's all right. Dex. Can I use athletics maybe?
No. Just
no, that's strength. All right. So I'm not proficient at that then, right?
Just dex.
That's good. That's -1 plus 11. 10. I'm getting better.
So, yeah. I don't know if you've ever had a horse kick you in the face and then walk over you, but Mel has,
hurts, I'm sure.
Just now.
Yeah.
So you're going to take a total of 24 points of damage as it runs right over you, and
just call me rodeo clown.
Is late in the
hilarious.
Is late in the hit, which means that despite yourself, despite the initiative, he's going first.
Okay.
And you said 24 points?
Uh-huh.
All right. Awesome.
Guys, I'm having so much fun right now.
All right. Go ahead and make your attack.
Still doing the defense thing?
Of course.
Oof.
All right.
John, just out of curiosity, could I at some points cutting words to try to get Griswold to not hit?
So you would know that even though it's not a spell, is technically kind of a magical effect. If it's done beforehand, like the Bardic Inspiration dice was, it's probably not going to be looked on too much. But if someone's
cutting words is a reaction, that's the reason why I'm.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying to you is if they start seeing the guy over in the corner start yelling stuff and doing Snapean kind of tactics against the Quidditch match, they're not going to sit back like most of the people. They're going to Hermione up.
Anybody have inspiration?
Just thought I'd ask.
Fair.
Anybody want to give me inspiration?
Not needed. It hits.
Oh, okay.
His lance also hits, but his hits just a second before yours. And even if you'd spent inspiration, it'd still be the 19 because you're getting rid of the disadvantage for the regular roll.
Okay.
But you're fine. It's cool. So it hits. Hold on a second. Scratch that. I'll use a reaction. Parry. All right. So he pulls his lance and jabs it into you. It slams into you, and you take a total of 14 points of piercing damage. Not too much. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw. Low DC. You're good. And basically, since his lance breaks off into you and kind of portions of it fly about, he kind of uses the butt end or the hand guard portion of it to deflect your attack where it was looking like it was going to hit true.
Okay.
All right. And you can see that Mel's still kind of underfoot at the bottom. It looks like Hawke.
Yeah.
No, not you.
Yeah.
The other Hawke.
Yep, the real Hawke right now. It looks like the guard is about to run out to act as squire for Xelbor. Do you want to take his stead, or do you want to let the guard do it?
I suppose I should take his stead just to.
Okay. As you both are running, it says, "Okay, if you're going to go help him with the horse, I'll go grab your compatriot."
Yeah, grab him.
Mel, you're kind of getting up and brushing yourself off. The guard comes over and says, "Wow, you took that like a champ. Do you need any assistance?"
I say, no, I'm all right. I did that on purpose. I didn't want the horse to get hurt, so
That's very kind of you. And he kind of continually stays close to you to kind of offer you some assistance on your way out. And everybody who's on a horse gets right to their positions in the lists. Xelbor, I need a charisma, animal friendship, animal handling I guess that's what it's called in this game.
There's no animal handling? Okay.
Yeah.
That is a 6 plus 5, so 11.
Okay. Not terribly good. And it does look like this horse was a bit perturbed by everything that's kind of taken place. Breaking wood. It is a war horse. It's really annoyed that the handling is not happening the way it's used to, or that's appropriate. Hawke, go ahead and make an animal handling check yourself.
Oh, this is so ugly.
Die!
Finally. Finally. It's a DC 12. Yeah, you managed to get the horse set so that it can get around Xelbor and get out to it. However, you'll be going late because your squire is not setting you right. He hands you up a lance awkwardly, and you set to the charge.
I hand him the pointy end. I'm kidding. I don't do that.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack. I'll make mine. Yeah, 23 is a really hard number to hit, even with a +9. Ooh. Does anybody want to give him inspiration?
Don't have it.
I do not believe I have it. Let me check my old sheet. I think I transferred that stuff.
You could add as a action. You can inspire somebody, right?
No, it's bardic stuff. It's different.
No, bardic stuff. I cannot do that.
Oh, that's right. It would be weird coming from a fighter.
Inspiration.
Do you have it, Zach?
He's not there, is he?
That's fine. Inspiration is kind of an out.
One, I'm not there, and two,
you're not there, yeah.
I don't have it. So.
Yep, no worries.
All right. Smash into his shield, and he parries it off. And his attack also gets smashed into your shield as well. All 3 lances
That's
have
3. Yep.
And you guys would be in switched positions.
Now the fun starts.
That wasn't fun?
Not really.
I didn't think so either.
Hawke's not a horse fighter, clearly. Or if he is, it's not with a lance.
All right. Griswold dismounts.
Hawke dismounts.
The horse is led away by his squire. I'm assuming your squire does so as well.
I guess so. I don't know about my squires.
Another of Griswold's attendants comes out, a young lad who is carrying a sword that's literally his size plus another 2 kids. It's a very massive sword. He kneels down to the ground in front of Griswold. Griswold takes his hand onto the sword's hilt, presses his boot up onto the boy's shoulder, and pushes the boy away. When the boy goes sprawling back with the sheath, the sword is pulled free from its sheath, and you can see it.
As he's doing that, Hawke is going to drink a healing potion.
I'm going to go Booh.
Because that's clearly an action.
Okay, do me a favor, and you just pull it out and move to quaff it.
Yeah, I mean, if I see that there's enough time to do
that. You see a spectral hand appear around the healing potion and pull it away from you towards the mage ear. And he slams it into his hand. But you see that he does it very quickly and quietly because you're close to him. And he kind of gives you a look.
Oh, like that's not what you're supposed to do. Got it.
And it looks like he was kind of covering you. The horse and everything.
Okay.
It looks like he spared you some embarrassment. All right.
I didn't know that was not a thing.
Kind of,
Okay, fair enough.
Looks to you guys. And it looks like Griswold's heading in your direction with the sword kind of set to his side. It looks like it's an impossibly long sword. A true Zweihander here, like a massive sword.
So hold on a second. So he has a 2-handed sword. Does it have a more than 5-foot reach?
I would say no. Like, it's just a great sword.
Does that mean that he's not wearing a shield?
No shield.
Perfect. That's excellent. I love it.
One quick note. You do see that his bracers, as he's kind of like moved away from, everything, like his armor is not terribly massive. Once he gets off the horse, moves his great helm and kind of sets himself to the fight. His bracer seems to be gleaming with this bluish aura.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wonder Man.
Yeah.
He says to you, as he's kind of approaching, I applaud you for your bravery, and so far for your skill. I will hate to have to spill your blood here.
You could always surrender and stop that from happening.
Yes.
You
Perfect.
truly are a funny jester.
Yeah, I'm Giacomo.
He sets himself there, and you are there. You have the higher initiative if you want to lead.
If I want to lead, fuck it, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just gonna start smacking them.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Put us down.
I get 3 attacks.
You sure do.
Fuck you.
Level
There's 1.
12 fighter. Dear
Ouch.
Fucking brutal shot.
Fuck you. There's 2.
Hit.
Sorry for my potty mouth.
Bring it. We're adults. It's fine.
No wonder you love roll
Actually,
20.
You know what? Scratch that. You know what? Watch your fucking mouth, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got kittens here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are fucking babies in the room.
Yeah.
There's a Twitch. There's a Twitch warning. There's a warning. Mature content.
You come in with your Elven Grace and snap in. You bring in the first strike with Vectra and hit. You can see a bit of blood kind of like come away from the pauldron as it hits. You kind of snap back and around, bring the attack down, kind of cut, just a bit of his cheek, wondering why he took the helmet off. Should be fighting with that on. And then you go in for your third attack, and it seems he's finally moved and reacted to your quick, flurry, and he spins the greatsword with a speed you weren't expecting and knocks your blade away. He then sets into a stance to attack back. Hey. Did someone say hey?
I think it was your wife. I don't
I
know.
think it was on your end, right?
Oh no, that's my phone notification. I got a text. my phone literally yells.
That's awesome.
I'm so sorry. I got.
That's fine.
Whoops.
All right, so he's going to attack you. He attacks twice. All right, so his first attack is a crit. His second attack is just a regular hit. 30 for the first attack, 29 for the second. So the crit will do 23 points of damage.
Hold on. I thought you said 30 and 29 damage. I have to add it back.
Sorry. It'll be 23 and 12. So it's actually 35 total.
Okay, that hurt.
All right. And then on the bottom of the initiative, he'll take a legendary action.
Ooh.
And he'll go ahead and take another weapon attack. That will hit a total of 23.
This is bad.
15 points of damage.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to second wind.
Okay.
Smart.
Wow. That bad already.
Wait, second wind isn't a huge amount. Oh wow, that's nice.
Oh yeah, it's his hit point, or it's his level plus a D10. That's pretty
And
good.
then we are going to hold on. Okay, we will do our 3 attacks.
Get it?
You still have your action surge too, right?
I have to. I use my bonus action already.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
Action surge is a freebie. It's not a bonus action.
I'm gonna use lucky to re-roll that.
Okay.
I tell you, lucky is such a great feat.
It's pretty broke.
It is.
It's better. That'll hit.
That's pretty woke.
Oh.
Second attack.
Mm-hmm.
Third attack.
What's your 2 hit, like plus 11?
It's pretty sick.
No wonder you love roll 20. Look at your rolls.
And so there's I could do extra attack in addition.
You can action surge.
Oh,
And then
action surge.
Action
you
surge
can
lets you
action
take
surge and get
another
2 more
action.
attacks.
It's not a bonus action to use action surge. It's just a.
So that's another 3
declaration.
attacks, right?
It would be another 3.
Yeah, we're doing it.
I mean, you might as well, right?
Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky.
Okay.
Second lucky of the day.
Thank you for keeping track.
All right.
Third hit.
Thank you for smoking.
Hold on. So
Okay.
when that one's about to hit, he'll use his reaction to parry it.
Okay.
Nice.
So
So far I have, in this next series of 3, just the 2 attacks so far. So I need another attack.
correct.
And that.
Oh, crit.
What? Look at that.
Nicely done.
And with that,
Alright.
Griswold is unconscious.
As you kind of hit him, he stumbles back, and you can see that he kind of almost goes into a kneel, and blood starts to kind of drip out of his face. He kind of rubs his face furiously with his fist and kind of looks up at you, and he says, I very well much have I can't even talk because I'm trying to be dramatic. Oh my God. Oh, this is so deep. Hold on.
John,
Rewind.
take a deep breath.
Rewind back to the beginning. I definitely underestimated you, but I shall not from here forth. And as you kind of see him, like, kind of regain his composure, like, you kind of see him, like, regain a bit of himself. Not magically. It just seems like he is a bit of a survivor.
Does it seem like he gets a second wind, perhaps?
No.
Okay.
I'll explain later. Anyways,
Is he a fighter?
No, he's an NPC class.
Okay.
Attack, and he'll use his legendary action to attack again. That is a 29, a 27, and a 23.
I'll hit.
12, 12, and 17. So 24 plus 17 is
41.
41.
Yeah, I'm hurting pretty hard.
He looks like he's hurt pretty good too.
I couldn't, like, sleight of hand a heal bird in there, could I?
So go ahead and do me a favor and make a charisma perception or deception check.
Charisma deception check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I kid you not, I just rolled a 19.
All right. Yeah.
And that's going to be plus, like, a lot.
So
it's like 8, 5, 13. So yeah, 19 plus 13, so 32.
here's what you know. You definitely could probably get a healing spell off that would fool the crowd and anyone who's technically watching it there. But you do notice that the Magier is watching the fight with his lens over his eye.
Damn it, I'll hold off then.
Okay. All right. So it's your go, Hawke. You've got 3 more attacks, or what are you going to do?
If I say something to him, does that count as my action?
No, talking's free.
We are evenly matched. Do you yield?
It looks like he's kind of like, the blood's still kind of dripping from his lip, and he's got the sword like pulling it away from your armor, and you can kind of hear the
Okay.
You're like, do you yield? He's like,
So
I'm winning though.
is he winning?
He feels like he's winning.
He feels like he's winning. So is he bloodied?
He is bloodied.
He is bloodied.
So are you, though.
Okay. So I'm definitely. I'm totally bloodied. I want to know how bad I'm losing.
Are you going in? Are you going to swing at him?
I'm going to swing at him.
All right, slay him. And that'll hit. That will definitely hit.
I don't know, that one might miss.
Last attack. And that will hit. You hit him, and you hit him again. The last attack kind of hits and ricochets off of the armor plate, kind of cuts to his face that he was trying to kind of guard with the sword, and gets past his defense. It catches him unawares, and he kind of stumbles back, and it hits the ground. When he hits the ground, his sword kind of sprawls away from him just a bit, and he's kind of laying like a few feet away.
Can I kick it away from him? Can I take an action and kick it?
Did I mention how big that sword is? Go ahead.
Could I take an action and put my hand over the hilt?
You can definitely put yourself
put my foot over the hilt.
You can put yourself in between him and the sword and put your foot on the sword. That's fine. Perfectly acceptable. And anything else?
Can I cast
defensive position?
Well, you're kind of looking down. Did you say anything?
You fought honorably. Let this end.
He says to you, "Go ahead, do it. Spill my blood. Send my guts all over the battlefield. I've fallen to a jester, to a lowly jester."
Clearly, you've underestimated me. You fought honorably. I will not kill you today. And he takes up his sword as well. And he sort of walks back, takes a few steps back.
It looks like Griswold lays there and doesn't get up. It looks like he's kind of ashamed. You turn and face where the crowd's going nuts.
I turn and face the king.
When I say nuts, some of them are yelling for you to kill him. Some of them are like applauding and standing in appreciation for the fight. And it's honorable turn. You go towards the king.
I will go towards the king, and I'll lay the sword down in front of the king, and I'll walk back over to Griswold and help him up.
As you're walking over towards the king, the horse has already been led away. I forgot to mention the horses got let out.
Oh, also, John, can I cast something?
Sure.
I just want to cast True Seeing on myself and look over at the mage ear.
Oh, shit. When you look past the mage ear and look at Lena, it's not Lena.
Son of a bitch. I thought something was up.
Who is it?
All right. Good enough to know.
I think
I'm happy. Let me mark off that I used that spell.
You see a woman with very fine-looking skin, wearing a black leather corset with long leather gloves. Her hair is like fire, pink flame that sits atop her head. She has long, demonic-looking ears and a fiendish-looking scowl on her face as she looks over at you and sees you do it. And you are charmed by her, correct?
I believe I am for another... Not for that much longer at this point, actually, because she charmed me yesterday.
Yes, but she says to you, "Kill him." And it looks like she's saying it to you, and Hawke, I'm sorry, Xelbor, to you, it looks like she's saying it to you. Kill him.
So wait, she's telling me to kill Hawke.
No, she's telling you guys to kill Griswold.
Oh, gotcha.
Fucking True Seeing.
I don't want to.
You do though. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Do I also make a wisdom saving throw?
Yeah.
It's not good, guys.
Boo would have turned around and shot him in a heartbeat.
I've got an 8.
Funk.
I would like to use my last. I want to use my last lucky.
Oh, for sure. Go ahead.
I rolled an 8.
Yeah, no, you failed. You know that you want to kill.
Jesus Christ!
You want to do what she says, but you know that the moment for you is not to break the current social situation and go murder this guy. However,
Hawke,
I've already declared that I'm not going to kill him, and I've walked towards the king, and I'm setting down the sword.
She wants you to kill him.
Fucking.
You really, like, in your head, you're currently at this conflict. You're looking at her.
Did she say that out loud? Did everyone hear? Everyone heard her say "kill him," so you can turn to the king and say,
So why do you want me to
like
kill
me
him?
to do as she says? And then if he says, "Yeah, go for it."
No, actually, what I'm going to say is I'm going to face her and say, "Why do you want me to kill him?"
He kind of like she kind of sits back down and kind of like lowers herself back. The king kind of stands up and says, "You've won the joust. You've won the duel. If you wish to spare him, that is fine. But understand this circumstance. If you win the duel and you disgrace my daughter by not taking her hand, then she will marry Griswold. And your fight would have been for nothing. so do you take my daughter's hand? And she says, of course he does. And you really, really agree with her.
I'm having second thoughts about this whole marriage thing now.
Wait, now here's the fun thing, though. Xelbor, Hawke, who is Xelbor, you want to marry her, but you understand in your head that she's going to be marrying Xelbor, but you're not Xelbor, and you get really jealous.
Wait, I wanna hurt Xelbor now.
Well,
first of all, I'm bleeding profusely, so I'm not really thinking clearly.
Second of all, I can cast Resilient Sphere on myself. Wait a minute.
How about I just walk? No. Can I walk back to the tent and collect myself, and then and let Xelbor be Xelbor?
The king says, "I've put an offer to you. If you need some time to recover after this fight, that is fine. But I say to you this: come back out and either accept my daughter's hand, or embarrass her in front of all of these people." She says, "You wouldn't do that, would you?"
Hawke says, Hawke says, "I need a moment to unbloody myself, and I'll be back with my decision." And he walks away towards the tent to switch with Zell.
Very well. And you guys all kind of like go back to
the tent.
Mel, help me, please. I'm dying.
What are you doing back there?
I will back in the tent.
I got whoa, man. So you guys go back in the tent, and yeah, you sure are wounded, and you sure are like aware of things that you shouldn't be aware of. And Mel's still Mel. Oh, slightly more horse imprinted.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
great. Before you guys start discussing things, Boo.
Hey, I get to play today.
Yay!
You continue on for a time, trying to get back to the castle, go through the secret chamber, and back through. It's pretty late in the morning. The afternoon is when this joust is taking place. And you see this creature that you've been kind of tailing for some time land in this series of mounds. The mounds are kind of set kind of up at a high point, and you can see that these mounds have all sorts of like standing stones set about them. It seriously looks like Stonehenge, but not quite to that effect. Like there's just a lot of these standing stones. It looks like they might have had in the past been like structures for like religious purposes. But set on the hill that's the highest above all of the other hills, there appears to be an altar. Being an elf, you're kind of familiar with the layout here. What this is it's a shrine of the one forest. Basically, whenever a person would die in dishonor, they would be placed onto the altar and burned, because they would not be allowed to go back to the forest. They would be put into the air instead. The owl lands on that altar. You can see that, it's going to be another hour or so before you get back to the secret passage, but it looks like the creature's not heading in what you'd thought was the castle.
Right.
It looks like it's stopped on the way there.
Can I get to the altar? How far away is the altar? How far away am I?
When you see it land, its form shifts from owl to massive heap of worms. And if you start to kind of approach, you'll start to see what it seems to be doing. You don't get very close once you realize what's happening. Yeah. It seems that the worms are entering into the earth. The pile, the main source of it, the core of it, is kind of maintained on the point on the altar. But you start to see bodies being pulled up out of the ground and worms kind of filling their frames. These warriors look like they're old Aetan warriors, soldiers of Parnak from ages old, that have basically been brought to reform by this creature. It first seems like a handful, but then you start to realize that every single hill in this area appears to have dozens. And given the time that it's expending in the process, you're pretty sure that it might have an army in maybe half a day. You want to stick around?
I feel I should give fair warning and then maybe discuss how much longer I stay.
You're like, this mercenary gig's worked so far, but
fuck that noise right there.
All right. The main thing that you notice, though, is that everywhere you kind of move, you're obviously trying to hide behind stones, stay low into the grass, whatever. But every time you look at the mound, that face is locked on you. No matter what direction you are, it moves across the mound of like worms to put itself so that it's facing in your direction. And you continually look at it because you're reminded that you wounded it. It does seem to have a crack in the mask.
Yeah, I did that. Okay.
Now is it a kraken?
Get out.
Just
get out. I don't know what it means, but just get out.
He clicked out, and then he reconnected.
Good. I guess I'm gonna wave to it. I don't fucking know. Boo is just gonna he's finally figured out it's not worth it. I'm gonna smile, wave to it, and then move the fuck on to the secret passage.
As you're about to head that way, you hear in your head the voice, the elvish voice of the thing. You've heard it a couple of times, and it whispers to you, "Go, warn them, tell them, the true heir of Albicoris returns." And as you hear that, you start to go, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, it's yeah, dude, got you.
You see the young boy's body pressed out of the worms so that the mask covers his face. It's still inside of the creature.
Cool.
Okay, bye.
I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of okay with this. Can I convey that sort of a intention? Cool. Thanks for not killing that kid. I'm sorry I shot you in the face.
Yep.
Thought you were killing the kid. You should have spoke. That's I don't know if I can mentally convey that intention to
Here's how you do it.
It's his facial expression.
Just
finger guns. I feel like Boo's
give him the finger guns. All right. Get that guy a pair of hand crossbows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I got you.
You head back in. You make your way into the castle proper, and you find yourself to the tournament grounds. As you are coming into the tournament grounds, the clouds overhead have become darkened, and it's starting to rain quite a bit. You would see that it looks like there's a light inside of the tent, one of the tents, and as the rain's coming down, you can see Melik outside of the tent just basking in the rain as it's splashing down on him. So you're pretty sure that the others are in that tent. Okay. So you can feel free to interject, jump in whenever you want to, but the other three, Mel's just right outside the door, just getting some water on him. You guys feel free to talk. So while you do, I'm going to go get a drink.
Yeah, Hawke is no longer going to look like Hawke. He'll look like Giacomo, but he'll look like Hawke. And then you can deal with this mess now, Zell.
Yeah.
So, as much as I love her, I'm probably going to say yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. As much as you love her, you will say yes, because you love her lots and lots and lots.
And Hawke feels some jealousy, a little bit of jealousy.
Also, she seems like a pig. Or something.
Are you going to tell us what you saw?
Oh, well, actually, I want to ask
bursting
John,
into that tent.
I've got a question. Would I have enough wherewithal about myself to want to tell them at all about what I saw with Lena with True Sight, or would I want to keep that secret for my love?
She didn't tell you not to.
That's true. So, yeah, that's not Lena. She's still pretty, though.
Would that change Hawke's feelings about her now that he was dishonest?
It's magic.
It's magic.
Boo runs into the tent.
Fuck.
Boo, it's not Lena, but I'm still going to marry her.
Who is not Lena? What?
Lena's not Lena.
in Boo's brain, he's currently The things that you think are important are not important.
Right?
The
Like
things that
I
are
don't
important-
give a fuck about who's fucking who at the moment.
She's some sort
like,
of pixie-like
all-
creature with these
Okay.
beautiful bat wings and this shock of pink flaming hair.
Mel, roll a religion check with intelligence.
All right, let's go. Real dice.
She's a succubus, isn't she?
Well, that was a 7 plus religion I'm proficient in, and that's wisdom, right? Or is it intelligence?
It's intelligence.
It's actually this 11. Whew, man, my real dice are not rolling great.
You would guess based on what's happening with your friends and what he just described. It sounds like Lena's a succubus.
Can you dispel that some way, Mel?
But the thing that's kind of making you go, wait, maybe not though, is that succubus only latch onto one person at a time. You've never heard of a succubus that can do 2 at once.
She's a super succubus.
Yeah, Zach,
She's
that's the
an
right face. The face that you made right there, that is the appropriate face for what I want to happen.
Oh no!
Uh,
Oh, a threesome.
one in the
She
front,
will
one in the back.
succubus.
I'm sorry for people watching at home who are only seeing the
bad.
initial screen of when we logged. But I mean, yeah, this is an easy one to watch. It's just sound.
Thank God, dude.
All right, I think I can
Nobody else wants to
dispel
see
magic.
Xelbor and the fucking Hawke Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Melik said something important in there.
What
I
do you
think I
think?
can dispel magic on him. I do have that capability.
I'll allow it. You can dispel. You want to use a dispel magic will cover both. It's fine.
Oh, okay, sweet. I'll say
it can only cover one, cover Hawke.
Oh, no, it'll cover both. That's fine. So you guys, it would be fine because it's coming close to an end anyways. She's not re-upping it. So yeah, you managed to kind of dispel them of their charm.
Nice.
All right. Good idea. Or a good question to ask me if I can, get rid of it.
Hawke,
Great. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, may I?
Okay, so she's a succubus. Wait, what?
We are all gonna die tomorrow. Jazz hands.
Why?
I don't feel like that's a jazz hands moment, but what?
no, it is. That's actually a perfect jazz hands moment.
Like that's Boo's like, we're all gonna die tomorrow.
But I beat Griswold.
Yeah.
The true heir to the city, who you sent me out to the woods to find, well, found him.
Good.
Well, that's good.
He
Thanks, that's
Where
great.
was captured
That's
by a
bad.
giant owl made of worms,
That's worse.
who then took him to what's the name of the altar? Very sorry.
Didn't have a name.
Didn't have a name. Okay, but I will describe said altar and
Getting
proceeded to resurrect an army of soldiers and proclaim that we should warn the town that the true heir to Laviston
No.
or not Laviston, sorry, fucking
The true heir of Albicoris.
Albicoris is. I'm so fucking high. Give me a moment, man.
You're doing great, Zach. You're almost there.
Do the jazz hands!
It was this thing. It's this
Yeah,
thing.
I saw.
So would Hawke and Zell and
but
Mel
yeah.
know from the when Hawke got the sword that it's the same worm creature that they essentially let out?
I would
Pretty
think.
good idea,
was- It would seem that the shame is present.
And I may or may not have shot it in the face.
Okay, and pissed it off.
A
Gotcha.
lot, kind of, sort of, a little.
So I only have enough for 3 castings of Sphere. Yes, 3. So one of you will die.
Nose goes.
Random.
Nose goes.
All of us.
The worm just
Hawke, you're going to die.
Hawke, sorry.
Sucks
Was
to
the
suck,
DM
buddy.
even an option in that?
Yeah, that's not fair. The worm popped in and put its hand or its wormy fingers on its porcelain nose. You gotta cast it on me, bro.
Well, this is what I'm wondering. Is there some way to... We already got our asses handed to us by this thing, so do we have any belief that we could beat it now? Obviously, we can't beat
No,
it.
we didn't get our asses handed to it. We were really damaged when it was resurrected, and we decided we couldn't fight it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And
It didn't
you
straight
made
up
me blow
butcher
2
you.
spells, Melik.
It didn't straight up butcher you at that point because you guys brought it back to life.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're actually its saviors
So
in a horrible way.
Okay, so how do we handle A, the Lena problem of, well, the succubus problem, and B, the not succubus but probably worse than succubus problem?
Well, if we tell the king that there's this big horde that's coming towards the city, then maybe the first problem will go away by itself.
That's a good plan.
Maybe.
I agree wholeheartedly. But
Let's tell him that.
can we kill this succubus thing?
It's evil, I believe. So I have no problem with it.
I mean, I'm sure we can. But
Excellent.
yeah.
And can we remove its disguise before we kill it?
That would be best.
Can we take a rest before we do anything else?
I don't know if we'll have time.
All right.
Yeah. How long until you get this army gets here,
I
Boo?
think are thinking about just sitting down and just sloughing out. The mage here just kind of walks up to your tent, and you can hear that the champions have basically surrounded the tent. The mage here walks in and looks at you guys. Oh, wonderful.
We have important news.
Peace, bro.
He goes. He snaps his fingers and causes Xelbor to become Hawke and Hawke to become Xelbor.
Why would you do that?
Took the seaming off.
No, I already took it off.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I was walking getting a beer. Damn it.
Yeah. It wasn't
You wanted to be all cool.
We had hats of disguise, and we took the hats of disguise off.
That's right. So he kind of walks in and kind of looks at you guys. An interesting trick, well played. So, are you going to go and talk to the royalty that's expecting you to accept or decline a proposal to marriage here?
Well, we are, but we're not going to.
You proposed?
Talk about that. We're not going to propose a proposal. We're going to propose something else about a big evil. Boo, do you want to explain it to him?
What?
The true heir to fucking whatever the city is, something with an A. Augusta? Albicore, like the tuna.
Albicoris.
Albicoris is on his way with a resurrected army of dead. Earliest they could hit with a full battalion would be tomorrow night.
You mean to tell me that you're under the impression that the shame of Albicoris is awakened?
We're not under the impression. This is time 2 that we've met him. Or 3. 2 or 3. Hawke?
I believe it's 2.
Let me make sure I understand you correctly before we continue forward. You, Lot, unlocked one of the deadliest magical crimes against the material plane that's ever existed.
Well, it's a more complicated.
I would like to point out that I did not.
Yeah.
That's actually true. He wasn't there.
I was hired after.
Boo was not involved.
He's on his way here.
Shoot it in the face.
Yes.
Well, it was lovely meeting you again. We and ours will be leaving. It looks like we have succeeded in our defense of the king for the time being, but I don't think a Magir's tower is necessary if this place is going to become a wasteland. So, I wish you the best of luck. May talk be with you. Enjoy the rest of your time here in the mortal plane.
Wait, before
he turns and starts walking towards the exit.
Are you going to evacuate the civilians?
They look back at you. These aren't my people. I need to go and tell my people about what has happened.
I'm just going to, before he goes, before you go, for your silence, could we possibly have something of yours, like an IP something, so that, we don't say, oh, he was a fucking coward who turned tail and ran. You should probably kill him, oh great king.
Do you really think that the king, for a second, thinks he has any power or rule over me?
That was worth a shot.
It was worth a shot. Wait a minute. I have a good idea. if we combined our strength with your magic strength,
He's
even
already out the
though
door, and his champions are starting to circle around him.
I'm gonna run after him and say, "Help us defeat this evil."
Please.
The champions
I'm not gonna say
kind of like
please.
close in around him. He raises his hand up, and in a purple, just bamf, all 7 of them disappear.
God, I hate that guy.
Before.
Yeah,
And
he's an asshole.
As he's like
Yes.
disappearing and like the fog's fading away, you hear, "Good luck, you pricks."
Oh, con!
Quietly, the 3 of them hear Boo from the back of the tent whisper, "Take me with you."
As you guys are standing out in the courtyard, you kind of look around, and it's a bit rainy. It looks like a canopy has been set over the king's, pavilion, and most of the people in the courtyard, like in the stands, most of the common-looking folk have left. Another thing you would note, is that Lena's not present in her chair.
Okay, guys, let's go over and talk to the king now. Evil McEvil isn't there.
Yes, good idea. Lover boy.
Hawke loved her too.
True.
Nathor stands up as you approach, and he yells out to you, "So what is it then, Giacomo? Do you wish to marry my daughter, or are you spurning her?"
Few things. Number one, oh dang it, what's it called? The thing of Albicoris. The Shame. The Shame of Albicoris is coming back with an army of undead.
He starts shaking his head, and everyone else kind of starts looking at you. As I figured, just to play for attention. We care not about your words.
Attention. Number 2.
Ravenhurst kind of looks at you with a smile, and so does Finsdale. They kind of just stand up as if you're just talking gibberish, not really paying attention to your words or caring because you didn't answer the question he asked, and they start trying to start walking away. It looks like
cast Oluk's Resilient Sphere on the king
Uh,
to keep him there.
at
I
least
don't
the
give a
asshole
fuck at
left.
this point.
Oh, good times. Okay, so can you do me a second? Hold on a second. What?
I'm sure I have to make some sort of a save by doing this. But fuck it.
All right.
They're all pissing me off.
Target closes a creature. An unwilling creature makes a dex saving throw. Okay. Hold on a second.
I really hope he fails.
I bet you do.
I hope you don't bring the wrath of the entire kingdom down upon you. That would suck.
Well, I really hope he fails because it's a 4th level spell.
Yeah. It's a good thing that magic asshole left already. Because we'd have to almost immediately fight him, probably.
Oh, that rolled live. Oops. But yeah. You
Son
see
of a bitch.
sphere appear around where he was standing, and he's standing near it. He kind of looks to you, and he yells to the guards and everyone, "Incarcerate that man again."
You're not listening to me. He's coming.
They start walking to take Xelbor and put him into binds. Does anybody try to stop him?
Nope.
Not at all.
Bye,
Oh,
Zell.
man. I really want to, but I'm
going to help me.
I thought I already
Not
did
right now.
by defeating what's his name.
I'm going to say I'm going to try to step in front and say, wait, we were trying to. I'm going to say, wait, Giacomo was trying to warn you of a danger to the kingdom.
Detain them both. I care not. And he
What?
starts walking away.
You're going to detain me? Wait, you talking to me?
The
Fine,
guards
if that's
start
the way-
walking over to you.
That's the way that he's going to do it. Dimension door. Me and Melik.
You grab a hold of Malik's hand and you teleport. Where are you going to?
Somewhere dreamy, because it's both of us.
God. Oh god.
I finally get some bro time.
I changed my mind about grabbing Melik.
Exactly. He lets go of me at the last minute. I'm like, no.
No,
He's like,
I'm trying
psych.
to think. What's within 500 feet that I would know?
So that most of your gear and stuff is still inside of that bedroom, inside the apartments in the castle.
Fine, we're going to the apartment.
You're taking me to your bedroom.
As you two
It's the same room that you're sleeping in.
and appear in a quiet room, or what you thought was going to be a quiet room. We'll get to you in a second. Hawke, all by yourself. Oh, you got
Not me, buddy. You and me, man.
Detain those two. Those two. Hold them hold them until the others come back.
Oh, man.
Tell us where they would have gone. The captain of the guard walks over to you. Tell us where they would have gone. And he looks at you and he says, I'm sorry. I don't want to detain you. We don't want to harm you at all.
So if we tell you where they are, we want to help with the coming siege?
Help us find them and help us bring them to custody.
Absolutely. Check the apartments.
Yeah,
check where we were staying.
To get their stuff.
Come with us. And a contingent of guards led by this individual, this guy, he introduces himself. He lets you know that his name is Herbert Rudley. And he is the captain of the guard.
Yep.
Much like you, the captain.
I don't know.
He says to you, I know who you are. I don't know why Giacomo hired you or how he got a hold of you, but I've heard rumors about you. You're Captain Hawke from Stormloft, are you not?
That's right.
Yeah, you spent the last year or two shaking that place up and keeping the Fellhoods under wraps. Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with thieves guilds out here. More or less, it's just political nonsense and assassins groups. But I envy you. I envy you for being out there in a place that is not as cultured, he says sarcastically, as Sorrowgate seems to be.
There seems to be lots of intrigue here.
It's really annoying. I would take a dragon attack over this kind of malarkey any day. At least a dragon, you know which end it's going to breathe out of.
Not always.
All right. When you guys appear in the room, you are not alone. You see a fiery-looking woman with pink hair and bat wings pulling her hand out of the chest of Griselda and throwing her to the ground. And then she turns and she looks back and she says, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you. Here." And she tosses the heart to you, Xelbor.
Well, I want a divine censor.
She's
evil.
No. She's evil. But yeah, as you're kind of focusing your eyes on her,
the
heart
bleeding
goes,
heart in my hand.
Do you catch it, or do you just let it bounce off of you?
I'm going to try to avoid it.
Okay, that's fine. You avoid it. It splatters on the ground near your feet, and she goes, "Have fun explaining this one." Disappears.
Let's kill her. Son of a bitch.
She vanishes.
I'm going to cast invisibility at level 3.
All right.
You're leaving.
Me and Melik are invisible.
Oh, you both are.
Okay. As you guys vanish, what would you like to do next? You got to, gather up your gear, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to grab the shit that I need.
Once you kind of gathered up your stuff and you put it onto your form, which it also goes invisible, about this time the guards are opening up your doors, and in walks all of your guards and the friends. The guards look at the dead woman whose heart is laying on the floor splattered, and they're looking at the situation like, and they all kind of turn back on you and they say, "I really don't know how to say this, but we are going to have to take you down to the cells. I really hope you do not. I really hope you don't try to resist." He says that to you, Hawke and Boo.
Hawke's not going to resist, but he says, "When you need help, you know where to find us."
And I will absolutely come to you with questions. I don't believe you had a hand in this, but I think that your friend might have. Tieflings are a wild lot.
Oh, and that racist!
Do you say that out loud?
No, that's me as a person saying
I'm
that.
asking if Xelbor, you hear him be racist towards you, right?
No, Xelbor is not going to say anything, but
make a charisma saving throw, just in case to see if you... No, kidding. Fuck it. You don't say it. You're like, "Fuck you!" And he's like, "He's here!"
Yeah.
15 plus 9.
You're
44.
Fine. I'm just being an ass. Hawke, they actually do put you in irons, and they'll do the same with Boo.
Before they put me in irons, I want to put my hand on my rapier and look at the guard and say, "If I don't speak to the king, by tomorrow, you will start losing men.
I tell you with full honor, if you allow me to bind you, I will take whatever words you have to the king and see that you attain an audience.
Keep your word. And he lets you bind him.
Okay. He tells the guards to send the two of you down to the dungeons, and you see that he personally starts heading in the direction that you would know the king's throne room is.
I'm going to follow them to the dungeons. I don't know what Melik is doing.
Malik, you are invisible.
I thought we were holding hands.
No. We were gathering our gear.
I have to go wherever you go now.
All right. So you guys well, you can't follow him because you don't see him.
I've got true seeing though. I've got true seeing up still though, so I should be able to see where Malik is. So I'm just going to grab Malik and just sort of drag him by the shoulder along.
I was really hoping to have a comical moment. Wait, is true seeing concentration or no?
Nope. It's up for 8 hours, period.
Damn,
Ooh, nice.
I was hoping you guys wouldn't be able to see each other, and then you'd bump into each other. You're like, what's this?
Yeah.
Nope. I have thought this plan through. Amazing. 20.
Fair enough. They, if you guys are following them down to the dungeon, perfectly fine. The guard, after you kind of enter into your cells, does come downstairs with your message, and he has Ravenhurst with him, not the king. The Ravenhurst looks to the elf and he says, "Tell me what you told this man."
That's you, Boo.
I'm sorry, Z.
The guard comes back after about 10 minutes, like very shortly after you get put into your cells. But he comes back with Ravenhurst, not the king. And he says to you, "Tell me what you told this man."
I told him if I don't get an audience with the king, he will start losing men.
Tell me why you feel that's the case.
Because if I don't have an audience with the king, we all will die.
Okay. I don't think you understand the political climate that's currently present here. You telling the king isn't going to help. You telling me will. So, let me try this one more time. What is it that you fear? What do we need to defend ourselves from, elf?
The shame of Albicoris is back.
You mean to tell me that the white mask has returned?
I nod.
I've got
the
a
white
question.
mask was buried in the mountains far to the east.
I believe my companion can explain that better than I.
Nice.
Nice.
Go ahead with your question, Matt.
I was going to ask, do I have a feeling like Ravenhurst is going to try to sort this out or not?
From what it sounds like, you've met with Ravenhurst and you know that he's a very subtle individual. He's the one who commissioned people to get killed, and also, the defense of the king in keeping the child away, the defense of the kingdom by keeping Lena unmarried. It seems like his interests are for power, and in a way, he kind of already has it in his position as lead right hand of the king.
All right.
So it seems like he's kind of trying to get information to understand what's happening. He looks over to Hawke.
Yep. Hawke says, I care not for your power intrigues, but I do care about trying to save as many people here as possible. And he goes on to explain.
Rude. Go ahead.
He goes on to explain what happened, the circumstances behind the release of the shame.
He looks to you all, kind of shrugs. I'll give you two options. Two very simple options. Option the first is you leave this place now. And I mean this place, this city, this kingdom. For what you have done, I should butcher you all here now. Or your second option is you sit here and you wait as I explain this to the king. And then he can decide what to do with you. Your choice.
We're dipping, right?
Yeah, we're dipping.
I'm going to drop invisibility at this point.
I think we should go, and then we can find another way to do that.
Hold on. No. Real deal. Sorry, situation. Okay. The second you see Xelbor appear, Finsdale's cloak and tabard flies up into the air, and a series of black chains start flaring out from him and snapping around Xelbor.
Oh, God.
No, that was bad. You didn't make me visible, did you?
No.
I stopped concentration. It ends.
Xelbor, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
That's the end of the honeymoon right there.
That is going to be... See, this is why we can't have nice things.
Because you keep screwing up.
16.
Not good enough. The chains snap around you, and he kind of stands over you as you're put into a kneel, and you are absolutely restrained. Any spellcasting that requires somatic components, and also any movement or what have you is...
That's fine. Can I talk at least?
Yeah, that's fine. And Finsdale looks to you and says, I'd suggest if you speak words, make sure they're in the common tongue.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Also, I'd like to say, do you think a guilty man would...
As you're snarky, you feel the chains tighten, and the binds and thorns of them start to pierce your flesh.
Does he take damage?
1 point of damage.
1 point? That's fine.
I will use my ability to switch places with them.
Oh, God, it's too funny.
And then I go like this. Fuck you.
Oh, but you can't.
But then
you can't get
you
your
can't
hand
do that.
up
You're restrained.
because you're in.
What'd you say?
You're switching positions with him. You're entering into his exact posture. So you're still inside the binds, and he's standing over there now. Your positions swap, and the second that happens, he squeezes the chains harder, and Ravenhurst looks to you as you're standing free over there, and he says, "Jester, you made a foolish move, and your friend made an even more foolish one."
That's my job.
Make a strength saving throw, Melik.
All right. I'm going to use real... This is the time I'm going to finally roll something good.
Believe in it.
It's a 1.
9 plus strength is...
Finsdale's DCs are 7.
Plus 7. Yeah. So I have 16 total.
You missed by 1. Just
like... Awesome. Okay. Oh, well. It happens. Sometimes I get disoriented when I do this switch thing, you know?
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
So, click.
That sucks.
You're going to take a total of 27 points of damage. And
I just took 1.
Our relationship is so like unhealthy for me.
It really is. We need to have a talk sometime.
I know.
You maintain your restrained status.
Where are Hawke and Booh during this exchange? We're not shackled anymore?
In your cells with no weaponry.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah.
And the bindings would have been released, but you don't have your weapons.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, would a guilty man come back necessarily and then reveal himself in front of you? Like, this is a very dumb...
Ravenhurst looks at you, and he says, I completely agree. You are a very dumb person for having returned. He looks at Finsdale, and Finsdale's like ready to just pull Mel apart. And he kind of, when he looks at Finsdale kind of and loosens the binds just a bit, not ripping him apart anymore, but still holding him in his position.
That's fine. And I take off my weapons, and I hand him my instruments.
Yeah, you start putting your stuff to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like taking everything off and just like handing them to them or
the guards will take them.
The guards. I'm just handing them. Just open the cell door, stick us in there with them. Can't really do too many of these fun magical things without all of those music instruments. Need those for focuses.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, I'm doing this as a show of good faith that we're not trying to shit around here. What they're saying is true. I wouldn't have come back if it wasn't.
Finsdale released the fish man.
He does? Thank you.
Finsdale pulls the chains away, and they kind of pull away from you like they're alive. You see them slap back onto Finsdale, and he kind of grabs the tabard up off the ground and starts to put it back over his body. As he does so, you can see that his pale white flesh starts to bleed just slightly from where the pins of the spike chains are. But then the spike chains kind of meld into his flesh and become black ink on his skin as he puts the tabard back over it.
Ooh, that's pretty neat. Nice tat.
He doesn't really respond to you. Ravenhurst looks to you, Xelbor, and he says, "It's good that you understand the gravity of the situation. I do respect the fact that you're willing to secure yourself in a prison for the rest of your lives, as short as they may be once it returns. But I respect that. Let them out. Let them have their things."
You realize when this thing shows up, you're going to need people to help fight it. And no able-bodied man should be in a prison.
Ravenhurst leans into Giacomo and he says, "Your fish associate isn't quite the brightest, is he?"
Wow, you're smart. You're just pointing out the obvious. Everybody knows that. But that's not what my strength is. My strength is my loyalty and my willingness to sacrifice for my friends.
You're willing to lose all of that sweet gear, including Diacentina, just to get you guys out of there? Oh, I should have let it ride. Ravenhurst says, "Let them out. Let them have their things." He looks to you again after insulting your fish friend. "If you wish to protect the city, fine. If you wish to flee the city, fine. Those are your two options. I've changed my ultimatum. But stay out of my way. Stay out of the way of my people."
Boo probably had something smart to say. You looked like you did.
Boo is flabbergasted by this whole mess that just went down in front of his eyes. Like the whole time, he's literally just been standing in the back of the cell, like mouth open, just like
Why would you? What are you doing? Why would you switch places with?
Just no. Let me go.
You're like, why am I working for these people?
Oh God,
They
it's
are
like
not paying me enough for this.
Watching children unleashed, just like
Yeah, pretty much. Does anybody want to tell?
I'm not their parents.
Wouldn't somebody want to tell this guy? It's Ankenbrand. Isn't that what it is?
No, Ravenhurst.
Ravenhurst. Wouldn't somebody want to tell Ravenhurst about the fake Lena? I'm just kind of wondering that out of game here.
Don't give a fuck. Can we
If
go?
you want to, go ahead.
If Fizdale are leaving, but as you
We're out
guys,
here.
the guard unlocks you and allows you to exit. As he's doing so, and as they're kind of like leading you to your things, Mel, you hear this strange kind of sirens call in the back of your head. It sounds like a very familiar voice to you. It sounds like her.
I am going to then whisper over to Zell. I'm going to say, Zell, somebody's speaking to me.
No, it's just like in your dreams. It's her again.
Her as in Rayella?
Yeah. Her singing seems to be kind of haunting you at this moment, but in your dreams, you can kind of tell what's real and what's not. Right now, you are not sure. And when you turn to look back towards where you think the singing is coming from, you see that this chamber is the same chamber that Xelbor was caught in before. You have 3 doors on each side, and then there's a door at the far end. It sounds like to you, it feels like to you that she's on the other side of that door. And you can kind of see a blue shimmering light, like the lights from your homeland.
Well, then,
underneath the door.
I would probably go to it for sure and open the door.
Okay. When you open the door and look inside, you see that the ground has become a sort of whirlpool. The stone isn't present. It seems that the ground has become water. And sitting in the water, you see, like you, a Drence looking up at you. It's not her. It's not someone you recognize. And she looks to you and says, "Are you coming?"
I'm going to say, who are you? I thought it was Rayella. Just you wait, baby.
No, Rayella was my mother.
Oh boy. This is really awkward.
But The seers have called for you. I have come to return you. I really wish that you would be closer to the sea or to the rivers, but this place that sits within the river, beneath the river, hard to access, but still accessible.
All right. And do I feel like this is something legitimate? Like I could actually get back?
Well, currently, your first suspicion will probably be divine sense, because you've got a succubus running around, and that shit's not cool. And when you do it, she's not a fiend. This appears to be a real merfolk girl here in the basement of a dungeon of a castle.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
Behind a blue door.
I would probably first I would like look back real quick to see if I could see Zell and Hawke and Boo.
You're kind of gathering up your stuff in a room just near where there is, and when you look back and see him in the other room, he appears to be kind of standing at a door that kind of has a blue light emanating out of it.
Yeah, I would say to him, Zell, my friend, this is something I feel I have to do, but I will return as soon as I can. And then I would.
You can hear him.
Well, wait a minute here. I had my my button turned off, so could you guys hear what I was saying?
Yeah, we could hear.
Oh, okay.
He was wondering if in character he could hear you. You're just down the hall.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I would turn and like dive up in the air and then like metamorphosize into a sweet merfolk dude, and then do like no splash, man. No splash.
Once you hit the water, she kind of tucks her head underneath the waves, underneath the maelstrom of the whirlpool.
Right.
And she looks to you and she says, in Dren's, the water language, she says to you, "Do you wish your friends to come along?"
If that's possible and they want to, that would be great.
She splashes back up, and you can see that there's this weird blue light coming from the other chamber, and it doesn't look like Mel's in that. He entered into the chamber. You don't see him, though.
So what do they do? What do you guys do?
I do this.
I make puzzled faces. This is literally...
You guys are all like, what up?
I am role-playing right now.
Yeah, did you see all the acting that was happening on my face?
Yeah. This is legit.
You're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Fucking...
People at home didn't. Because it's frozen on Kevin smiling and me staring off into the distance.
Thank God.
For those of you at home, I did a really confused looking face.
He had a really confused looking face.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we should like cliffhanger this.
Oh no!
Because that would make it hard for you, because you wouldn't know what they were going to do.
Hawke?
Yeah?
Did you just see Melik do the thing with the door that's blue now? And do you see that?
I do see that.
Do you have any idea what's going on?
The guards kind of leave you to your things, and they kind of head off. They say the doors are open to you, and they leave. It just seems to be you three in the hallway. And you can kind of hear the sound of water running from that way.
We would definitely want to follow Melik, wouldn't we? We would just want to leave him.
I mean, I just want to open the door, man.
Yeah, I just want to see what's through the door.
The door's open. You can see the light coming from it. When you go up to it and start getting close to it, you start to see that the floor is lava. I mean, the floor is water.
The floor is
lava?
Everyone off the floor!
Psych.
The floor in that room appears to be water. Everybody on a chair now. It's fine. Chairs are immune to lava.
Right.
Oh, man.
Fire can't beat wood.
Correct.
Oh, man. I also picture like Hawke and Zell and Boo like walking up in like fucking 1920s silent film, like on each other, like doo-doo.
That's accurate.
Keystone Cops and all that.
Like fucking Three Stooges style, real over dramatic and real slow.
Sounds about right. All right. You see a woman's head appear. She appears to be the same race as your friend Melik. She splashes up and she looks to you. And in the common tongue, "You are with him?"
We were.
You are with him, and she gestures down. You can see that there's a silhouette of looks like Melik in his fish form underneath the water.
Sure.
Yeah, the Drents can basically change their feet to fins. They can basically Little Mermaid without losing their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But yeah, I respond to the drenched woman, sure, with him.
Then come along.
Hawke, what do we do?
Let's follow. Let's see what happens. This is cool.
We don't have the mermaid thing though.
Can we breathe?
Come.
Okay, let's go.
Reaches their hand up to whoever's
Okay.
first in line.
Hawke will reach out.
Takes your hand, and she slowly guides you into the pool. As you kind of enter into the water, you can feel yourself start to sink because you're in armor, and your head kind of submerges beneath the water very quickly, and you kind of feel that welling fear of, oh God, I'm gonna die. But as you kind of get underneath the waves, she places her finger onto your forehead, and you can hear this boop sound as your body seems to be kind of coated with this bluish light. And Mel, you kind of look up and you can see him, and it kind of puts a smile to your face. You recognize this as the guest gift of the Drents people. They basically apply an air shield or air bubble around the person that basically changes the water around them into air so that they can breathe normally.
Sweet.
And move around normally.
Right.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool. So I say, welcome, Hawke. Can he talk too underwater?
Hear you.
Can he hear
And
me? Yeah.
He can speak, and pretty much you can hear him. And
Ah.
for people who are also in air bubbles, it'll sound like really muffled, but to you can hear it fine.
Oh, these are going to be some awesome sessions.
So lead on.
In fact,
You're the leader.
for you, Melik, they sound right, like the way when he says something back, he sounds more right than, like, you can hear him better than you've been able to hear him ever.
Ah, nice. It's the water. It's transmitting the sound waves. You know?
It's doing the sound right.
Yeah.
Sounds supposed to be stopped and weirded out by water.
Yeah.
She pops back up and raises her hand up to the next person. Your employer just went into the water, and your friends both just went into the water. You're kind of confused as to how this pertains to anything and what's going to happen in the world above.
I got nothing better going on though. You know?
Actually, you know what? This
Plus,
is
we're
better
still paying you.
than waiting for a bunch of worm
Right.
zombies to come murder us.
The thing that I just shot in the face, like, yeah, I'm okay with getting the fuck out. Seems fast and easy.
She does the same to you. And you feel, comfortable in the water, comfortable enough. And she, gives you the air bubble. Same for you, Xelbor?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I get in. I start saying to Melik, let's go.
Mel, you feel comfortable in this. As she kind of gets everybody underneath, though, you see that she kind of closes she's had her left hand open the whole time, and she closes her hand. When she does so, it looks like the water above this weird section where you were able to exit out into the cell before vanishes, and you're just inside of plain water. You start to realize that you're in some sort of cavity, some strange, like, manufactured cavity. And as you start to look around, you realize that you're in a man-made or possibly elvish-made, like, tunnel or breach. And she looks to you and she says, "We are beneath where you were. It was the only way to enter through the stone, as I was able to do. There is a strange energy in this place. Let us continue on down the river. We must hurry. You are wanted back by the elders. We have set up our enclave just outside of this place, just in the ocean beyond." And you guys kind of get that weird vibe too, as she kind of says it, and you kind of hear her in her muffled tones. And everybody can make a perception check if you'd like.
Perception.
Just perception wisdom.
Yes, sir.
This is great.
Not
Got a
terrible.
7. My
Hawke.
rolls.
Boo, You realize that the tunnels that you're in, Hawke, Boo, you realize that the tunnels you are in are the waterways that continue underneath Lament's nose. You are currently in the winding river, and you are underneath the pyramid, the ziggurat that sits in the river. But Boo, the more alert of the people, you realize that there seem to be tunnelways and access points that are very old and very unopened down beneath you.
Ooh. Might we use these as a way to help with the battle?
These look like places that might have things secreted away within.
Like.
I'm pointing it out to the other three just so they're like, hey.
Man. Well, I guess what I would say is, did Rayola's daughter tell us her name?
No, she didn't. Apologies. I have it. It was a long one. Here, I'll type it.
So your Boo got married, huh?
Yeah, something's going on here. And yeah, I haven't been gone that long. Right?
Wait, does this involve time travel?
It could. You just never know. Wait, she's like, wait, you're my father.
What you would know too, real quick, merfolk don't have, like, you've been gone for probably the better part of a decade or so, if you recall. But they when they're born, they don't have a very long childhood. Childhood, like kid through teen, is only about 8 years. And then once they hit adult years, they live as long as humans, sometimes closer to the dwarven age. It's kind of in between.
Okay, that's cool. That makes a little bit more sense now then. It's not like there's some sort of time travel going on necessarily.
Yeah, she seems, I mean, age-wise, you haven't seen merfolk in a while, but she seems appropriately young. She seems like she's about the age that she would be. She seems, with the spells and stuff that she's been doing, she seems very well gifted with her art.
So I guess what I would say to, is it Delarius?
Correct.
Delarius, whatever. Delarius sounds like you're delirious, so I'll say Delarius.
It is Delarius, but
Delarius. Yeah. I'll say Boo has pointed out a big puff of smoke. I mean, Boo has pointed out that there could be some something useful to our upcoming events. You know, to what we're going to be getting into down in those pockets of tunnels. And so what I'm wondering is do you think there's enough time for us to jaunt down there and check, see if there's anything down there useful, or do we need to get to the elders like immediately?
I've been tracking you for many cycles. If you wish to delay, the only people you will have to answer to are the seers.
Boy, that was not really. I'm going to leave it up to the group then, because you know we're a group. We work as a team. So if you guys think it's important, we'll go down there and search, but do a little side questing here. But if you think, you know, because you know, as long as we get there eventually, that's all I'm going to say. What do you guys think as a group?
If these tunnels can help us in any way with the battle that's coming, I think we should check it out.
I thought we were abandoning that battle.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm thinking. It's not that I want to abandon it, but it sounds like I'm wanted by the elders for something that, you know, is very important. So, like, it sounds like if we're going to go there and find out what that is, the battle by the time we would get back, it's probably going to be done, and it's probably going to be a wasteland. But I thought maybe if we find something that would help us fight that Shame of Albicoris eventually, we're going to have to do that.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I just want to know if you think that's a good idea. Or you think it's just like kind of wasting time, you know?
I don't know. What do the others think?
What do you think, Xelbor?
We all don't have to answer to the seers.
True. I could say you guys pretty much,
we can take a small detour.
Yeah. What do you think, Zell? Your opinion is more important. I mean, just as important as everybody else's. I didn't just say that out loud, did I?
Uh-oh.
Seriously, to have a conversation when we get home. But no, sure, that's fine.
But no, it's fine. What? It's fine if we go to the
Which
elders
of
or
the
fine if
four
we-
options is fine.
Whatever Hawke said.
whatever Hawke said. Oh, you are so indecisive, Zell. When it comes to doing things like that. All right, fine. I'm going to say
in real life, I didn't hear at all what happened because I disconnected for a few minutes.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm glad you're honest.
No idea what's going on.
So the decision is whether or not to go directly with Mel to the Seers, or to take a detour to see if there's anything that would help us along the way in these tunnels.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Detour, I guess.
And
All
then
right, we'll do-
if you pick detour, do we all take the detour, or just two of us? Or
No, I
just
think
three of
everybody
us?
should. I think
I
everybody.
don't think. No, I think that this is a perfect opportunity to split the party. John loves that.
I know. I love that too. That's why I always give him that.
I hate that. I hate that
I'm a big
option.
fan of it.
Split the party. Split the party. Split the party.
Regardless.
My point is, we don't know the Seers. You're the ones who
Yeah.
have to answer to them. If you're comfortable blowing them off, you blow them off. But we, as a three, want to check out them tunnels. So we don't know what your punishment is going to be because we do not know your culture. And Boo is basically laying out an opportunity for you to save your own ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you guys are deciding and you've made your decision that you're going to continue down, she nods her head, and as she does so, and leans her head forward, her head tail kind of comes up over the top of her head, and you can see that her head tail, unlike Melik's, ends in kind of like a bulb. And once it gets to that point, it starts to glow, and it emanates a blue light out from it, shining and illuminating the entirety of the cavern that you can see. She starts to swim forward, and kind of starts gesturing for you to lead the way, Melik.
All right, I will. I say, hey guys, look, it's a blue light special.
You would, well played, but you would know that only like 100 of the Drents gain this special feature, known as the Angler's Light. And what you would know too is people who have this feature, that are born with this feature, are also very, very, very close to the elemental chaos and the aspects of magic that are used by the Seers. So she's probably not just the daughter of your friend, she's also apparently an acolyte that is in training to become a Seer.
Ooh, okay. So like she's like, now are the Seers, they basically see stuff that Nermode wants them to see?
So the Seers are kind of like the priests and high mages of your group. What is known as an enclave to people on the surface, your tribe, is what you would call it. And basically, tracklets don't stay in one place; they continue moving, and then they set up camp for a long time, and spend some time, in a location during a season, and then they move on. Seers see where they go. Wayfinders lead the way and find the path, and then the rest of the tribe are what are known as the trackless.
Okay. Well, I will say this, gentlemen, we're going to have to, we're not going to be able to go on this little side jaunt for too long, but we'll just, quickly check it out. So I got to get back. I don't want to blow things off too much.
Start to look around. Boo is very keen-eyed. A couple of these passageways just look like they're, possibly functional passageways to like maintenance places that have been long since ignored, that might have been utilized by elves in since times. You can understand the script on these. It's old Elvish, but it's still Elvish. It's still the Relonic script. But you notice that there's kind of a trend leading to a single point, and it seems that there's a passageway down into the earth that seems to be kind of set like the construction around you. So you can see kind of the mud and dirt and silt of the riverbed, and then you can kind of see like a ventilation shaft, effectively, of like Death Star style, that just dumps right into the ground. And on the outside of that ring, you can see Relonic runes that appear to be kind of warding runes. there doesn't appear to be magic lingering or present, but it does give the place a certain aura.
I point the ruins out to Xelbor then. Say, hey, look at these. Check these out, man. And then I say, we have
no idea what this means.
They're Elvish script, and it looks like they're old warding passages.
Yeah.
But you actually start to notice closely that the warding passages also have a warning written within them. So when you look at a Rulonic rune, it's kind of like a wavy pattern, right? But set inside of the wavy pattern that actually makes up the wavy pattern is more alphabet inside of it. So each single letter actually seems to have a passage within it. And it seems that the thing that seems to be written over and over and over again is the secrets of the Albicoris reside below.
That's cool. Very sweet. Good choice, guys. Good job, Boo.
Thank you.
I do the old, snap and point thing. And then I flip my fin up.
Do you descend down?
Yeah, as long as we don't think there are any traps or any active wards going on, we'll go down there.
Who's in the lead?
Melik should be in the lead.
I'll lead because I'm the most mobile and all that junk. And then we'll have Hawke. Do you want to come second?
She'll actually be right behind you with the light.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
You guys descend down for some time, and then the passageway kind of arcs and kind of comes into an opening. As you kind of enter into the opening, Mel, you can see that the water seems to have kind of a surface layer to it up above you. And just above you, you can see that there seems to be a bright orange light, or a series of bright orange lights that are kind of hitting the surface and refracting down, causing the water to kind of have this almost yellowish kind of color to it. And it seems that there's a series of staircases that go up and exit out of the water like a pool.
Cool. So what I'll do is lead him over to those staircases and start exiting up the stairs.
Okay. As you start exiting out of the water and kind of breaching the surface, you can see before you, as you come out of the water, that there appear to be hundreds and hundreds of bookcases. There appear to be candlelights, sconces with candles set in them on each end of each shelf. There appear to be chandeliers hanging up above you, all lit, bright lights, bright oranges kind of descending down upon you. And the whole place kind of has a musty kind of book smell to it, but it seems that this place is well kept, like someone is maintaining it. And as you're kind of breaching the water and coming up, you can see a man in a robe turn to face you. And when he turns to face you, you can see that his face is covered with a white mask. The white mask, upon the surface of the mask, has a blood red handprint set over it. But you can see that underneath the mask, there is a man. He is wearing a black robe, and his hood is up, but underneath there seems to be alabaster skin. The person seems to be some sort of human.
It's not a cracked mask.
It's like on the face on the screen right in front of us.
Yeah. All right. So I guess what I would say is, hail. I am Melik. And these are my companions.
Oh, no need to announce yourself. Perfectly fine. Come up. Get out of the water.
Well, who are you, may I ask?
I'm the curator.
Okay, so we are looking for the secrets of the Shame of Albicoris.
The Shame of Albicoris?
Yes.
Well, information.
You mean Gideon, the luminous Albicoris, the 16th king of the Albicoris crown?
I believe that's the one we are looking for. Am I right? I'm not very smart, Zell.
He points in a direction. He says, there are some books there in the black section that you may want to take in. Also, by whose permission to have you come here? He kind of says as he kind of takes a second.
Well,
as your friends start to kind of come out of the water.
I'm going to say it's very interesting because I believe I was led here by the god Nermod. So,
I'm not familiar with this god.
You are not. Okay, guys, you can go and look at the books because I could talk to this guy about Nermod for probably a couple hours. I'm going to evangelize the shit out of him. We'll have a library of Nermod when we're done here.
Make me a charisma check and add your
Alright.
proficiency bonus.
My dice have been doing so great.
Yeah.
Fuck, I guess what I got now? An 11 plus whatever, So it's not going to be great, but it's not going to be horrible. My charisma's good, actually.
And your proficiency bonus.
It's plus 9, so that's a total of a 20, so that's not horrible.
Yeah. You start talking to him about Nair mode, and he seems to be interested, and he says, wait. And he walks over to a table nearby, throws open a tome, sits to it, and a quill seems to just float over to him and set on top of the paper with ink, set to it. And he says, okay, apologies, continue.
Okay, and then I'm going to try to motion my friends off to look at books and stuff because I got this guy. I'm just going to talk to him.
As you're talking, the ums and the uhs are basically written out, and basically the hyperbolic statements or like interjection of, your personal beliefs on Nair mode are, kind of not written down. But you can see that the facts of what you're stating, or rather the lore of what you're stating, is being written into the pages of this book. Everyone else, you're free to the library.
We're going to go and look in the black section.
Okay.
The restricted section of Hogwarts Library.
It looks like Delarius stays with Mel. Boo, which direction do you want to go? Not even listening.
Zach.
Playing on your phone.
No, sorry. There was an issue with my checking account.
Oh, that's not
sorry. Yeah. Hundreds of dollars just gone. We'll figure it out, though.
Oh my god. Equifax.
Cool. All good. Maybe.
Was it buying weed?
No, I don't think
you don't buy weed with a debit card.
I think
I don't know where he lives.
Depends
Maybe
on your state, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because the ATM machine posted a withdrawal 4 times at the same time instead of one.
That's bad.
Mm.
That's messed up.
But it's okay. The only reason I know is because the bank let me know that there was an issue and they had disputed all of them.
Okay, perfect. Chase?
But I was reading.
All right. So we're in a library.
Yeah. And there's a thing, and we're debating whether we're chasing that thing.
No, we're looking at things now.
We're looking at things.
You're in a library. There is a curator. The curator is an alabaster-skinned human with a white mask on his face with the red handprint over it.
Okay, sorry. Yes.
He's not really a thing. He seems to be a person, but he's the only person present. He said, they asked about the shame. He told you the name of the shame, Gideon Illuminus Albicoris, the 16th king of the Albicoris line. And he said, any information on him you would like is in the black section. And he gestured towards an area of the library. As you guys start to approach it, if you're heading in that direction, you'll notice the candles are not lit here.
Oh, okay.
But Mel is sitting with the curator and telling him all about his god, and the curator has a magical book and pen, which seems to be taking down the lore of his account in the book. And Zell and Hawke are heading over towards the black section. Where do you want to go?
What other sections are there?
Plenty of other sections. It looks like as you're kind of taking it in, it looks like the secret library of this place, the Hall of Secrets, is cordoned off into 6 sections. You have the black section, which you presume is over in that direction. The section that you're standing in has kind of like an orange hue to it. You can see an area that looks like it's lit by kind of a reddish light, and an area that looks like it's lit by bluish light, and there might be 2 more sections beyond that.
Okay, I would like to go back to the curator, quickly interrupt him and ask him if he can explain what each section is.
As you kind of interrupt, Mel stops talking and he says, "One moment," to you, Boo. And he says, "Go ahead and continue. I'm listening." And he looks over to Boo and he says, "Ask your question again." And Mel kind of curiously starts continuing, but the pages still are, being writ. And it does look like the curator's attention has changed, but it seems that his focus is still on the book as well. And he says to Boo, "Ask your question again."
The different sections. Could you explain the differences?
The black section has the first 20 kings of House Albicoris. The orange section here has the current kings of House Albicoris, including the current regent, Nathor Albicoris, second son of his father, and current king, albeit by situation and not by blood. The red section beyond has discussions on the wars, specifically from the west, with Old Hysric and the nation of Jernaris. And the blue section has discussions of the waterways and passages and discoveries of the islands of the old Aetan. There is, of course, the green section farther beyond, which will probably be of no concern to anyone here, as it is simply a record of all of the seasonal differences and weather for the past. He kind of looks around a really long time.
And that's all of this section. Am I muted?
No.
I can hear him.
Kevin.
No. I just said we could prove global warming, guys.
Oh.
They have all the data on.
Zing.
That wasn't really a zing. It was just we could do it.
I saw Kevin moving his face, and I was like,
yeah, you're like,
he's trying to talk. Okay, but anyways, go ahead.
And that's all the sections, right?
Correct.
I will thank him. And I'm curious about the blue section. I'm just going to go pick up some random books and see if I can gain some knowledge while I'm fucking...
He says to you, do you want any assistance in looking for anything in specific? He says he stands to kind of follow you. And he looks back to Mel, who's talking, and kind of stops because the person he's talking to is walking away. And he goes, oh, my apologies. He reaches into his hood, pulls his ear off, and it comes off like a section of stone, and sets it on the table. I'm still listening. Please continue. And he walks to follow the elf.
That's pretty cool.
I literally talked his ear off.
Is there anything specific? I don't know. It just seemed like the most interesting topic to me.
The waterways?
Yeah. Maybe there's some secret pathway for somewhere that we could use in the future. Are we heading that way? Are there any waterways in the direction that we're heading?
The winding river, which you're on, or in, depending on how you look at it, it continues out to sea near Jernaris, and it's where you guys are heading because that's where the wayfinder, the girl said that
the area I want to focus on, the area that we're going to, and where we're going to be located to make sure if there are anything that we could use going forward.
Oh, for certain. Excuse me. Well, if you are curious about that area, I will tell you that the bay just outside of the winding river and the delta there and are plagued by a massive infestation of Sahuagin. At least it has been for the last 1,000 years. Some say that if they were ever to mass their tribes and stop their infighting, they could even rise up to contest the city of Dayut near there. I don't believe that will ever be the case because they are a chaotic lot. And he kind of goes, it's an interesting point about your water god, Fishman. And he says to you, of course, the main thing that you want to be aware of is that the further you get out, the more likely you are to run into one of the Zurato's children.
And who are Zurato's children?
Make sure I've got that name right.
Word.
Zaratan's children.
And the fuck's that?
Of course, let us continue. And he walks with you a little further on.
The fuck's that? Of course, let us continue.
He pulls a couple of books off the shelf as he's walking past them, and then he moves over to a table in the blue section and sets the books down. The first book he sets out in front of you, it's bound with tortoiseshell. Like the plates of the tortoiseshell are kind of placed to it, and set inside of the center of the book, you see the shape of what looks like a turtle. And he opens the book, and you can see that the book is written in Elvish. He kind of opens the book towards the middle, and a piece of paper kind of sits within the pages, and it appears to be a illuminated page that's either been removed from a different document, or has just been added here, or has been removed from this book and put towards the middle. What I mean by illuminated, if you're not familiar with the term, those that are watching, is when a page is drawn on with inks to like a high degree. Like, if you've ever seen like those old Gothic, like Roman Catholic, like Bibles that have like really crazy pictures drawn on them, the term that describes what that is illuminated. Mm-hmm. The illuminated page that you see before you depicts what appears to be an island with the head of a turtle and a bunch of turtles going out from it, and strange Elvish script near it. And he says, the Zaratan.
What does the strange Elvish script say?
It's just a bunch of descriptions about the distance that this turtle island appears to be. It appears to be not hundreds. It appears to be about 5 miles wide. The tortoise's shell. It appears to be a turtle island. And it has explanations of like how much it can swallow and what its children are, the dragon turtles.
And the info on the dragon turtles, what makes them special?
If you go into the book and start reading into it, you learn a little bit about dragon turtles, known in this book at least as the children of Zaratan. Dragon turtles, if you're not familiar with dragon turtles, are technically dragons, very large turtles with, just awesome strength. They can spit steam. They're just massive water creatures that sometimes attack ships, according to this book. It seems like they might be a recurring threat in the waterways that he was explaining. But as you're kind of looking to it, he kind of goes, "That's a Zaratan." You're not familiar with the tale of the turtle.
Personally, I'm not from the waterways.
Well, according to Aetan tradition, there was a man whose name was Ryomend, who left the provinces of Parnak, and he did so with a fleet of ships. His ships were attacked by dragon turtles, but he negotiated with them. So says the story, and they took him to a magical island, and on that island, it was there he found what is known as the priest's tongue. According to some traditions, the priest's tongue is a relic from the creation of the world, something that is said to have power over all mortals, all things that live, all things that have been created in this place. According to Osirian tradition, where Ryomand continued his quest. You see, Ryomand was an exile of Parnak, a Aetan soldier who felt it necessary to continue on his own, outside of the reign of elves. They created the nation of Osiria, a triumvirate to the north. Have you heard of Osiria?
I have.
Well, it was there that he saved the people of that land and created a triumvirate with 2 of the other kings in that place. And that triumvirate has ruled for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, until recently. I heard there was a civil war out that way. Not much information has been acquired, but that information would be worth a lot to me.
Understood.
You see, Ryomand was the son of Sigismund. Sigismund was the knight guardian of Averio.
Okay.
He is an important figure in the histories, and Sigismund's other blood relative that is of importance, at least to this library, was of course, Albicoris, the first son, the first mage of these lands, the first one to bear the white mask.
Interesting.
My creator.
All
There's-
right.
Very useful information.
There is more about the dragon turtles within, and more about the lore and story as to how Ryoman came to discuss with them his trip to their parent. I don't know how much of it will be useful, but you feel free to look over this book as you'd like. He kind of nods his head, not to you, but to someone, and he starts walking back towards the fishman. And he says, "Oh," and he pulls his ear off and tosses it on your table. "Just let me know if you need anything." And he starts to walk away.
He's all out of ears now, guys. We're hogging up his ears.
All right, you guys make it to the Black Library, and you start to realize that it's not lit. It's that the light that's lighting it doesn't seem to emit out too far from the library's area. You see that the library has no book. This portion of the library has no books on its shelves. There's a table in the middle of the section, and there's a single book sitting out on the table. The book seems to have another book, or at least a portion of a book, ripped out of the bindings, set within the book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You go to the book. The book has no title, no writings on its cover. All it has is a blood-stained handprint on its cover.
I think this is the book that he was talking about. I'm going to open the book.
When you open the book,
Hawke stands back.
you notice that the first page is written in the Rulonic script. It's all in Elvish, and it's gibberish to you. Hawke, when you kind of look over and see the text, it looks like there is a title, but it's not the title of a book. It's the title of a person, and it's King of Lament Knows, Servant of the Elves, Aeten Master, Sword Saint. I've got it right here. Hold on. Sword Saint.
Sword Saint.
Sword Saint. Aren't you a
What is
Sword
that?
Saint?
Sword Saint.
No, I'm looking for the sword, the all the swords. I think there's 7 of them.
Master
Do you have to
of the,
cut people's heads off?
sorry, Master of the Winds, Lord of Books, Keeper of the Darkest Secrets, Creator of the White Mask, Nather Albicoris. I'm sorry, not Nather Albicoris. Wow, Gideon Illuminus Albicoris. Wow. 16th King of the Great House of Albicoris. So it looks like the person's name is the first page of the book.
Right.
Okay.
I would relay all
How to
that
kill
to
him.
Zell.
And then open to the next page. Now it's
Okay.
gibberish to both of you. Actually, it's not gibberish to Zell. You see script that looks absolutely foreign to you, but horrifyingly so. Zell, you would recognize the alphabet as that of the fiendish languages.
Yay! My language is useful!
You speak Infernal. You speak Infernal, correct?
Yes.
Great. So as you start to read
First time
through,
it's useful, guys. First time it's useful.
Hey,
as you start to read through these pages, you start to realize that it's discussing a lot about how to summon demons, and not so much how to bind them, but a lot about their powers and their abilities. Some of these pages have like blood-drawn images of demons in very graphic detail, like someone was dissecting demons. As you kind of make it to about the halfway point of the book, you realize that you come to that section that looks like someone stuffed another book within. And when you kind of tug those pages out, you see the cover of that, or the title of that book. And it says, "The Writ of Onionomen.
Okay.
And the symbol that you see looks like a religious symbol.
Onion men.
Onion Nomen.
I know.
Onion.
Onion Omen is actually the way you're supposed to go.
Onion
Okay.
nom nom.
Yeah. If you think about the Latin roots of it, though, it's onio, one, nomen, name.
Yeah.
One name.
One or first.
Yeah.
Depends on how you look at it. Roll me an intelligence religion check there, Xelbor. I know you don't have it trained, but this is a pretty important text.
Okay, let's see if I can do this, guys.
Would history help?
Yeah, go for it.
Natural fucking 20.
Nice.
Sorry about it.
The writ of Onionomen is said to be the pages as written by the very first human, according to the Aetan tradition, according to the Osirian tradition, the Vitus, the human pantheon, the real human pantheon, not the Averiu worship. According to that religion, according to that belief, there were two gods in the beginning, chaos and law, Ashtar and Atavius. Ashtar and Atavius came together for one reason and one reason alone. That's to create the first human. The first human's name was Onionomen, the first name. When he was created, he was given everything that he wished, everything that he wanted, but he was not sated with that because it wasn't his. He did not earn it. So he tricked the two gods into coming to him without the other knowing that the other was going to be there. When they arrived to meet with him, their powers surged and they started to become angry. So he, using his treachery, started to steal their powers from them and make it his own. The god of law, Atavius, at that point said, "You need to be punished." And the god of chaos said, "Destruction is the only way that can be attained." At that point, the law of death was written into order, and Onionomen became the first thing to die. But in his death, he became something else. He became a god himself because of the power that he had taken from the others. And that god is known as Alonusero, the dark god of sorcery and magic. It would seem that this book, and this text that sits within it, it would seem that this shame has been trying to duplicate by stealing from fiendish and celestial beings, because the next half of the book is the dissection of celestials, the means of just taking their abilities, taking what they have, and making it his own.
Ooh. Maybe we can use that against him by trapping him into trying to steal somebody's power and then getting his stolen, right?
That section of the book details how he does this by working on what is known as a familiar. In your mind, and to most mage-centric people, a familiar is usually an animal, and that animal is tied to one of those three sources: celestial, fiend, or possibly fae. In olden times, familiars did not have to be a living creature. Sometimes they could just be an item that was passed down from person to person that had prime magic within it. That was the source, the connective point for a mage. After the Age of Heroes, that binding was no longer necessary. It used to be the case that mages required a familiar to cast spells. Not so much anymore. And it would seem that in this text, it's referring to, it's an older time, but it's referring to the mask as the familiar. It would seem that his power, his prime magic, came from that source. And it seems that he corrupted it or empowered it with his experiments.
Perspective.
More like, what's it called? When you just talk at the audience for a long time in a movie or a play,
Monologuing.
Not monologuing. No. It's not when you're talking. Like when just the
Narration.
Not narration.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Exposition.
Exposition.
That's the one I wanted.
Okay.
That's what that was.
He's exposing himself.
That's not what
Come
it means.
on.
Or an
I know it.
expositional monologue for narrative purposes.
Fair. But I think it gives you an idea of like what we're looking at.
I like it.
Xelbor, do you want to take the book with you or leave it where it is?
That's a trick question.
I want to ask the guy out there if we can take the book with us.
You come over to him.
You have
And
to get a
you
library
see
card.
That he's walking over to Mel, who's still talking, kind of like losing his interest in the conversation though, because he's just talking to a stone ear. The curator picks his ear up and puts it back to his right side, and it seems to just reseal perfectly in stone form. And he sits down in front of Mel and kind of is nodding his head in appreciation with a smile on his face. You walk over to him and you say,
So, that book back there, is there like a way we could check it out for a little while? Might be useful in what we have to do.
He stands and he looks to Mel and he raises his hand to stop him. Apologies. I must stop you for just a moment.
That's quite all right.
And you kind of look at him and you're like, I was kind of done though. Like, I think I got. And he goes, oh, that's it? And he smiles and he walks over to the book and shuts it. The quill sets itself down where it was in the beginning. And he says, that's one book. And he lets it go and it just seems to float off towards the green section.
It's a handy trick.
You're allowed one book that you can take with you.
I say we take that one.
Each per person?
There are 2 books in the black section.
Maybe check the other one out first.
Technically, he's right.
You're a calculating enough person to realize that the writ and his ledger, or I'm sorry, his journal rather, are 2 separate things.
Right. Okay. I got True Sight still up. Did I see anything special about either of the books with True Sight? Yeah,
the writ had kind of a glow to it. You would have noticed too, and you got really high on your Hawke got really high on his history check, so he would have actually been able to. So there are editions of books. This one says it's a 3rd edition. So Hawke, you have some idea of the history of the writ, and you know that it's typically only currently published in the lands of Darg to the north by a group known as the Meridians. It's typically regarded as cult material in Osiria and is burned because they don't agree with the beliefs therein. Outside of there, it's more of a scarcity, but the editions typically come from Meridia or are republished therein. But anytime a person publishes one of these books, they add 1 to the edition number when they start to press. So if you release an amount of books and you're going to, have a scribe or, you're going to basically create a number of copies, that's the amount, and you typically write the number that you set that amount to. This one's edition value is 3, and according to that Brits, it's not completely intact. It's only like the first portion, but it says it's 1 of 100. And you recall the current edition being like in the 30s. So it's a very old book.
Right.
Don't mess up the pages. It's worth more that way.
Put on eBay.
Yeah. Put it in a sleeve.
Can we get the author to sign it?
I'm tempted. Unfortunately, several years ago, I made a covenant with myself that said I couldn't bring deities back into the realm. It happened a lot. It was just annoying.
Yeah, I can understand it. I would say that we should take the writ then.
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. He says you can take that 1 book. Perfectly fine.
Cool.
It doesn't seem that he holds any value on any of the books. It just, if a piece of information is worth noting, and the long conversation about Nair mode was, something he didn't have, he's willing to trade one book for one book, so long as the information is necessary in this library.
What are the terms of checking this book out?
Zell, you kind of think about that for a second, and you remember that you have a book in your bag, probably deep in the bottoms of it, that basically instructs someone how to create gelatinous cubes.
Right. That's true. I'm going to take that book out and see if he's interested in this book, so we could possibly take another book out.
He asks you to hand him the book.
I hand him the book.
He sets the book down and just basically opens the book and starts leafing through it very quickly with an unhuman grace. And his eyes, you can see them moving about as he's doing so. Then he slams the book shut, face down, basically rolling the book. And he says, yes, this needs to enter our library. Are you submitting it?
Yes.
He lifts the book up in the air and releases it. It starts to fly off, and it starts to head for the red section.
So could we take out the other book in the black section, too?
Of course.
Let's do that.
Good move, Zell.
Completely forgot about that thing, and I was never going to use it.
You used it to trade.
Every time you thought about creating a gelatinous cube, you thought to yourself, yeah, but I really don't want Mel to end up in another one.
That's right. This will just be a constant reminder of what happened.
Actually, that was my backup plan in case he got really creepy.
Yeah, just put him inside a cube. Actually, it would be even worse. You'd create one, jump inside it, and then have me walk in and be like, oh wait, and zip, and then you just leave. Like, see ya. Oh, man.
All right.
We kid.
What else do you want to do?
I mean, I'm good. Is there anything else we need here?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Do you think it would be worth? Probably not. Never mind. All right, this guy isn't evil, is he? This he's probably neutral or something.
No. Yeah, lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So hey guys, this is cool that we found this. Let's head out.
Yep.
All right, sweet.
As you start to head towards the water, the curator walks over to you and kind of says along after you, "Oh, I do apologize. One last request. You do understand that by committing with the transaction, that when your time comes, you have to make one more deposit." And he says this to Xelbor specifically.
Oh boy.
Oh crap.
What do you mean?
You have taken out 2 books.
It's got a jizz in a cup.
I think it's worse than that.
And they're gonna make little worm
2 cups.
You have taken out 2 books. And at current, you only have 1 soul.
Oh, this is bad. You might want to give him the books back.
You have 2 options. You can leave this place, as you planned, and if you are to die, you will return to this place, and your lore will be extracted, and your soul will be sent back to the Bastion. Or you can leave the books, or return them before you die.
So guys, return trip here.
That sounds like a good idea. I don't like the thought of him extracting knowledge from you, and
No. Do me a favor. He said something very specific that is religion necessary.
Yeah, he said the Bastion.
Go ahead and make a religion check with intelligence.
It's okay if I make this one too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck. 9. I rolled a 9 on the die, so it's going to be plus, maybe 4 or or something. I don't know. Not a lot. So it's going to be a mediocre roll here.
I
should
rolled
start
a
using
6, and mine's even more mediocre than his.
Oh, wait, I'm trained in perception. So actually, yeah, I'd be a +4. So 13.
And religion.
This is pretty dense lore that's pretty much outside of your ken. You don't know what he means by the Bastion, and you don't know exactly what he means by extract the lore from your soul and return it to this place. So whatever it is, it sounds menacing, to be sure, but you don't really understand the gravity of it.
All right. Do you want him to explain that to us, Zell, or are you just going to make sure you return it?
No, explaining would be fine. What's the Bastion?
Yeah.
The Bastion is a place inside of the realms beyond. According to tradition, it is beneath the seat of Amirnian, the one who spins. When a soul is created, it comes from the well. When a soul is returned, it is sent to the Bastion. At that point, it can be used for one of two things: by a god's whim, or for repurposing. It's sent for repurposing. Its lore is extracted, and your soul, or imprint on it rather, continues on to whatever heaven or hell you're destined for, as per the covenant. However, the real soul of you is sent back into the world to be reborn, as souls are a finite thing. But what I ask of you is that before you are sent to the Bastion to have your lore sent on to wherever it may go, I will extract it and apply it to Paige, and you, like others, will reside here as a tale for others to check out if they so wish.
I mean, that would be a rather steamy read, guys.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What happens if I die, but these guys return the books?
If the books are returned, then of course your book can be taken out. But once it's taken out, it must be returned, or the lore of the next person's soul who checked it out will be committed to Paige and kept here.
Awesome.
I was going to say I could have my own Xelbor book, as long as I outlive you.
Fucking tight.
That's the
Like
key.
an awful. Like,
You know what? It might not be worth checking these books out, guys.
Are you planning on dying? No.
You don't really plan those things.
That's true.
They
but
just kind of happen.
We've had a pretty crazy life. Let's just check them out and then bring them back. What do you think? Of course, it's your soul. So.
I have a question.
Of course.
How fast was he writing before when he was notating what Melik was saying?
Basically, anytime Melik's speed would change, so would the pen's speed change. If Melik started rushing through something, the points that were important would be captured quickly.
Why the fuck didn't you guys ask for copies?
I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
is that possible? Yeah. Copies?
You wish,
He writes like a motherfucker. Just get a couple of pages that are important and have him copy them.
of course, that is an option. If you wish to have material scribed for you, there is, of course, a cost.
What's the cost for a copy?
The cost for a copy is one book. As you've presented two, we would allow you to have copies. Are you wanting the entirety of the book or only specific material?
I think we should have copies.
All right, that's your answer. That's an answer for you, Zell. You're the smart. What's the most important stuff in those books?
What's the price difference?
Yeah, the price difference.
I mean, I honestly don't feel like the anatomy of the Fiend and the Celestial is important. Probably the stuff about the the familiars would be useful.
Okay.
And then honestly, I'd probably want the passage more about Onleminen becoming a god and of his powers of sorcery. Like the creation story stuff wouldn't be as important.
Gotcha.
I feel like
Basically, the crux of the story would be important.
Yeah, the crux of the story and the stuff on the familiars.
Very good. For this, and he takes the pages, sets them down. The book opens. You see that the quill very quickly just moves down the page, and as it moves down the page, it doesn't seem to move to write, but the page fills with words. The page flips, the words fill out very quickly, like very, very fast. The pages rip out of the book and land on the table, face to you. And he says, for these pages, for the lore contained within, detainment for 7 years.
Detainment.
If they are not returned. You understand that the information that is kept within this place, it is all secrets. If you allow this information to loose out into the world, there must be a payment. What I mean by 7 years of detainment is if you die and your soul is sent off to the Bastion, we will detain you for 7 years.
What if he destroys the information?
I was just about to ask the same question.
If he destroys the copies by flame and flame alone, then of course the charge will not be held.
I like this deal a lot better.
What if we were to throw in 11 gold pieces and 4 platinum pieces?
He looks to you. He looks to you, and as he does, he kind of just has it's a stoic mask because you're looking at a porcelain mask. But as he's kind of looking to you, he says, "I have no need of gold."
Oh, okay. I don't have much, but that's what I have.
I do not have any.
Lucky for you.
Hold on a second. I've got a question. Would this possibly lower that detainment period at all, and I take out my book on time?
Oh, wait a minute. You can't get rid of that book on time. That's precious to you, man.
He looks to the book.
I was holding on it to the last.
He looks to the book, and he reaches out for it.
Wouldn't even let them touch it, but
I'm not agreeing to this being a trade yet. I'm just showing you for now.
Do you hand him the book?
I hand him the book.
The second he touches this book, Cardiff's copy, or no, this is the copy that you found.
This is the copy from the library that I made a guy lose his arm about.
Okay.
Yeah.
As he touches this copy of the book,
the arm appears and slaps me.
Yes.
Time.
How dare you cut my arm off? I died. As he touches the book and kind of sets it, open to look at the contents within, you can see that it's not going as fast as it did with the first book. It actually stops. And it seems to be kind of looking over the pages and then re-looking over the pages and then going over the pages. If you remember correctly, it's written in basically gibberish.
Right.
And he continues on. He shuts the book and he hands it back to you. There's not enough lore in this book that is worthy of this library.
Okay, fair enough. I put it back in my bag, along with the copy pages.
As you do so, and you kind of set yourself to that, you see this very strange form kind of rising up out of the water behind you, and kind of starts walking out on the steps. It seems to be kind of a bluish light, and then it kind of manifests into a solid form. It seems to be a younger man with kind of a bluish cloak, clocks patterned on the cloak. And he kind of looks at you with very familiar eyes, old eyes, and kind of smiles. Hello. He says, "Well, hello." And that's where we're going to cut off for tonight, because I think I have an idea, but I've got to just I want to make sure it's okay with Dan that I do it. But
Cardiff's going to try to kill us, guys.
Yeah, you should see if Dan is free next week. Let's get it started.
That'll be awesome.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill the stream. Killing the stream.
Stream is killed.
Hold on, wait.
Well, we didn't roll too good. You rolled a 20.